मज उत्पन्ने जाताल्लादो महामनाः आहूय विप्रान् वेदज्ञान् स्नातः शुचिरलङ्कृतः चिन्तासन्तानहन्तारो यत्पादाम्बुजरेणवः प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः यदनुग्रहतो जन्तुः सर्वदुःखातिगो भवेत् तमहं सर्वदा वन्दे श्रीमद्वल्लभनन्दनम् अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमामि हृदये शेषे लीलाक्षीराब्धिशायनं लक्ष्मीसहस्रलीलाभिः सेव्यमानं कलानिधिं चतुर्भिश्च 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 त्रिभिस्तथा षड्भिर्विराजते योऽसौ पञ्चधारदये मम श्रीकृष्णं परमानन्दं दशलीलायुतं सदा सर्वभक्तसमुद्धारे विस्फुरन्तं परं नुमः नमो भगवते तस्मै कृष्णायाद्भुतकर्मणे रूपनामविभेदेन जगत्क्रीडति यो यतः बुद्धिप्रेरककृष्णस्य पादपद्मं प्रसीदतु ध्यानासमर्थजीवानाम् अस्माकं सर्वदा स्वतः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नमामि श्रीबालकृष्णं यशोदोत्सङ्गलालितं पूतना सुपयः पानः रक्षिता शेषबालकम्। श्रीकृष्णसमारम्भां वल्लभाचार्यवर्धिताम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। शुकरूपप्रबोधज्ञ सर्वशास्त्रविशारद एतत्कथाप्रकाशेन मदज्ञानं विनाशय। नमस्तुते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः। श्री गोवर्धन नाथ की जय। श्री गिरिराज धरण की जय। श्याम सुंदर श्री अमने महारानी जी की जय। श्री वल्लभाधीश की जय। श्री गोसाई जी परम दयाल की जय। Why do you all say Jai Shri Krishna? It's a reminder to each other about to remember him. Very good. Two, it's a greeting. A substitution of hello. It's not a substitution. So we can even say Jai Shri Narayan. Remembering him. We're greeting another person's soul. Not convinced. Feel the presence of him. Fair. Before the end of the day, give me an answer to this question. Classwork for the day. Classwork for the day. See, I told you now. While we were discussing the flow of Katha when we met for the first time or the second time, we had this conversation stating that the number of people on the day of Krishna Janma will be highest, and the next day will be the lowest. And the people who will be there on the second day will actually truly know what actual Krishna Janma is. Now, the entire Katha, I'm not sure for how long would be the duration, is dependent on 1.5 day, which is Janmashtami and Nanda Mahotsav. Until now, you heard about 3 Jayantis primarily. You heard about various avatars of Bhagavan, but the 4 primary avatars which are very crucial in context with our fasting are Ramnavami, Vaman Dvadashi, Nrsimha Chaturdashi. Mahashivratri fast is not supposed to be done by Vaishnavas. It's not a mandate for Vaishnavas to do it. And to understand the importance of Mahashivratri, you'll have to read Shiva Puran. So, right vrat, wrong place. I am not saying this. There's a scripture which has been published in the Sampradaya that it's not anivarya for a Vaishnav to do the Upavas on the Shivaratri. It doesn't formulate under the purview of something called as a Vishnu Panchak Vrat. Under the Vishnu Panchak Vrat, Shivaratri doesn't come by. But, but, there's a but behind it. If you don't classify yourself as a Vaishnav, please don't take this as an excuse. If you're not a Vaishnav, do it. If you are a pseudo Vaishnav, what do I mean by pseudo Vaishnav? Your family claim is Vaishnavism, but you are going in 5 different directions. But for people who have dedicated to only Krishna, only to Vishnu, need not do the Shivratri Vrat. We'll cover that topic in about 2.5 hours from now. So I don't want to let my climax go away right now. So Ram Navami, Vaman Dwadashi, Narsimha Chaturdashi. See, there is no insulting of Shivji over here. Let me be very clear. Another opinions of Shastra will always say that Hari and Hara are one. Hari meditates on Hara, Hara meditates on Hari. There is no denial in that. Shastra's recommendation over there, the Agnya of the Shastra over there is absolutely correct. There's no denial over there. But the Katha that you're listening to right now is meant for increasing love for Krishna. And a lot of places in Puran as well, it has been mentioned that if Shivji becomes happy with you, he will give you Vishnu Bhakti. You have already elevated in that phase. Try to maintain it. And a lot of times, despite being on the path of Vishnu, people don't understand the importance. And there'll be tons of examples today as well, where various Devis and Devtas, various Swarups, various people have underestimated and probably have not capitalized on the opportunity that they have of Vishnu Bhakti. Girish uncle is missing. So we have a substitute sound today. Not so friendly sound though. Girish uncle will join us tomorrow. As soon as he comes, this sound will go away. And I heard he's coming with you. Ooh, amazing gift you have given me while going back. I'm totally indebted to you. Thank you so much. I'll happily embrace this, that one of the Ratnas of my own area is going to come with me, and I'll get a chance to drop him off at home as well. So I'm going to take it very sportingly. I'm a very nice human being. I am full of compassion, and as I said, I have full dhairya. So I'll handle it. Don't worry. ના મને એનું પણ ટેન્શન નથી. એ ધારે તો મને એમના બાજુમાં જ બેસાડી દેશે. હિરલ બેની વસ્તુના સાક્ષી છે. પણ એમનો સ્નેહ મારો સ્નેહ અલગ જગ્યાએ, કાકા ભત્રીજાન પ્રેમ બીજી બાજુ. We are here to talk about Thakurji's bhav and our bhav for Thakurji. Now, do you all love celebrations? Yes. Anyone over here who doesn't like celebrations? Chocolate ની વાત નથી કરી રહ્યો. Talking about actual celebrations. Is there any scientific backing And even if there is, I'm certain we haven't gone to read. But at least in our Shastra, have you heard of the name Kalidas? What do you know about Kalidas? Or apart from that, so you heard of Kalidas, but you don't know what Kalidas has done. ऐसा कैसा? रघुवंश, अभिज्ञान शाकुंतल, मेघदूत. Kalidas is considered to be Kavi Kula Guru. When in the study of Shastri and Acharya, so BA and MA degree, when students go to study Sahitya, literature, they primarily get to study Kalidas in deep. Kalidas is what to India that Shakespeare is to Britain. Kalidas is what to India. Kalidas is to India what Shakespeare is to Britain. The difference is English has transformed from the time of what Shakespeare might have written to the current date. On the contrary, whatever Kalidas has written, the style of writing, it can still be used after some significant amount of learning by the Sanskrit scholars. Yesterday, I think we were having a conversation on the table where why Sanskrit as a language still is picking up. As per the records of the Indian subcontinent, there are 70,000 official people who classify themselves as to be able to being able to communicate in Sanskrit. Apart from being able to communicate in Sanskrit, there is a village called Mathur in India, which only has Sanskrit speaking population. They even host 7, 14, 21 days workshops to let you stay for free and study. So there are no charges for you to study over there. The idea and the and till that extent, if I'm not wrong, the village doesn't even have a policeman. It's that safe. Now, enough has been even studied in the Western culture about the study of Sanskrit, stating that Sanskrit is one fine language which is good for programming as well. Because the logic of Sanskrit is such that if you have incorrect grammar, the sentence just doesn't get formulated. And the beauty about Sanskrit is there's no chronology for noun, adjective, and verb. Or noun, pronoun, preposition, adjective, and verb. They need not specifically have a flow. Eating am I. Eating I am. I am eating. We've been habituated to learn to speak as I first, am next, eating being the third statement. Whereas if Sanskrit Pandits recite or say certain statements in Sanskrit, they will, let's say if they have to say khadami aham or aham khadami, the statement still means the same. Now you want to complicate your life by active voice and passive voice, those active voice and passive voice games can also be played by us. Food is eaten by me. Even they can make statements which are in the passive voice. That's not a big deal for them. But even if they make statements in the passive voice, there is no necessity of the statement to start with a noun only or a pronoun only. They can keep the pronoun at the last as well. Anytime when you heard the word namamyaham, it's namami plus aham. Namami, the verb is first, and the pronoun is at the last. If you might have an issue that a statement cannot end with a noun, or it might be a little inappropriate to end with a noun, we don't have such rules. And that's why I'm going to take one statement from Kavi Kalidas's textbook, which is called Utsav Priyaha Khalu Manushyaha. Utsav Priyaha refers to celebration. Priyaha refers to beliked or liked. Khalu Manushyaha, Khalu refers to indeed, and Manushyaha refers to all of us, that we all love celebrations. Now, the country that you are residing in, apart from the 30-day festival or the 28th festival that they have, what are the other days that they celebrate? Hmm.
National Day, National holidays, Prophet's birthdays, Christmas, two Eids.
Christmas is not their birth, though.
Yeah, but they still New Year's for New Year's. And Prophet's accession from Govardhan.
As far as you're not saying Happy Good Friday, I'm good to go.
Mother's Day. Mother's Day is the national day. Yeah, it's the national day. Correct. Okay. Even accession day also they celebrate. We have a lot of holidays.
I couldn't see more than 10.
Yeah, not more than 10.
I couldn't see more than 10.
Including both the Eids. Yeah, including both Eids. Yeah, 10 or 11, I think.
Okay. And my question was not the holiday, my question was celebrations. There's a difference here. Huh. So my question is celebrations. And technically speaking, the entire month is working. No one is getting holidays. So 2-3 days at the max, because when you say Martyrs Day is generally not celebrated.
It's celebrated.
Okay, sure, happy. अरे यार I'm asking for celebration, you are telling me holidays. मेरे को celebration जानने का है, मेरे को holiday नहीं जानना है. Two Eids are celebrations. National Day is a celebration. Okay. Any other day which is a celebration? Like unfortunately in India, 2nd October is considered to be a celebration. If you didn't get this, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Yeah. I didn't say it. You said it. Yeah, so it's a celebration, right? Now, these are all Laukik reasons for celebration. Yeah, like Republic Day, Independence Day, 2nd October. These are all some, or maybe Shivaji Jayanti or Ambedkar Jayanti, XYZ, wherever you live. Accordingly, government will declare a holiday and then you have to celebrate them. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about legit reasons of celebrations as per Bharatiya culture. So let's count. And if you break down Diwali as well, then it's Teras, Chaudas, Amas. For us Gujaratis, it's Ekam because we do Bestu Varsh and Bhaiya Dooj. Then Lap Pacham. So, 5 तो यहाँ થઈ ગઈ. Technically, Hori and Dhuleti too. Pushti mark, I'm still reaching. Pushti mark, I haven't reached only. Right now, I'm still in Hindu Sanatan Dharma gambit right now. Sankrant, Shivratri, Raksha Bandhan, Ram Navami, Dashara, Janmashtami, हनुमान जयंती, नरसिंह जयंती, वामन द्वादशी, गुड़ी पड़वा, शरद पूनम, गणेश चतुर्थी, रक्षाबंधन, नागपंचमी, ऋषि पंचमी, थोड़ी વધારે થઈ ગયું. મોડા કાતે કરાવી દેશો તમે તો. ઓનમ, yeah, Onam, Vishu, fair. Is it doesn't all of those most of these coincide on the same Sankranti day only? हाँ, and some culture from the north, वो चांद देखना और उपवास तोड़ना, करवा चौथ. Then a couple of that you don't know, Sanji. It's technically no, it's not Pushti first. It's actually a Vraj based festival. Now, if I go deep dive into state-wise, then state-wise itself will have more than. But until now, 12 plus 12, 12 plus 11, at least I had about 25 list of celebrations just by speaking with you. Yeah, I mean, Navratri 9 days technically are celebrations. In that specifically, first 3 days, middle 3 days, 3 days are considered for various devis as well. And then Navratri comes 4 times in a year. 2 are Gupta and 2 are Prakat. We'll go on and on. We have more holidays than you. Thank you. We have more celebrations than you. But you were us only, na? You still us, na? I mean, some of you still have Indian passports. We are not even calculating holidays. We are finding reasons to celebrate right now. We are finding reasons to celebrate Baisakhi. We are finding reasons to celebrate. What one more is there? Ha. Kartiki Poonam, Haryali Amavasya, and whatnot. Now, I'll take you to a perspective of Srinath Ji's calendar. Srinath Ji's calendar has more than 52 Utsavs. Now, people who are great at mathematics, 365 divided by 52. Once a week. 52 weeks, straightforward, once a week. Now, we have more than 52 Utsavs. For you, Diwali is a 5-day vacation. For us, each day itself is an individual celebration. Now, let me tell you one thing. Currently, days of Holi are going. Pushtimarg celebrates Holi for 41 days. Right from Vasant Panchami till the day of Dhuleti. Acha, now you will say, you Pushtimarg people don't have any work. Our primary work is to do Thakurji's Seva. Now, some people might say, but what if I'm the male member of the family, I have to go and earn? Your going and earning also is a part of this Seva because your wealth is being utilized for Thakurji's Seva. Does that mean you have an exceptional case to not sit in front of Thakurji in the morning? No. The way your employee has to register his or her own face in a biometric to showcase that they have reached the office, the Das has to show his Malik that I have come for Seva. And in exceptional cases, when you just can't do, you just can't do. Now, when does Sindhi calendar start? And when is it? Which month does it come in? April. Do you all follow Gudi Padwa? No. So, here's a slight difference in the culture as well. You have your own start of the new year. Gujaratis have their own start of the new year. Linguistic minorities or linguistic communities have their own start of New Year's. And along with that, there's one Sanatan Dharma New Year which is called as Gudi Padwa. Now, if I go a step forward, Pushti Marg Seva Pranalika starts on the day of Janmashtami. वर्ष अनुक्रमणिका वर्षोत्सवनी अनुक्रमणिका, that is Varshik Seva Pranalika, starts on the day of Janmashtami. Now I want you to visualize, have you ever done Janmashtami in India? Have you ever got a chance to do Janmashtami in Nathdwara? For all those people who have good, for all those people who haven't, maybe explore it once. And let's say if you can't do either, try doing this at your own home. Why am I going to emphasize so much on this particular Utsav? Firstly, it comes only once a year. Unlike Holi, it doesn't last for 40 days. Unlike Diwali, it doesn't last for 5 days. Unlike Sharat Poonam or the days of Ras, it doesn't last for 5 days either. This Utsav comes, happens at the midnight, next day it's a conclusion day, and then woof, Thakurji's Leela takes a turn. But there's a small connection with the time when Thakurji sits in a palna and he stays in the palna for the next 15 days. Why? Because right from the birth of Sri Thakurji to the right of the birth of Sri Radhaji, there are 15 days. Incarnation of Thakurji is followed by incarnation of Radhaji. And the time gap between those is 15 days. And hence, in Pushti, though the protocol is to have Palna every day for Thakurji, but let's say at certain times when you have a Radha Krishna at home or when you have Srinathji at home, the seva of the Swarup is not happening only from a Bala Bhav. What is Bala Bhav? When you have a small baby, you have the sentiments and emotions of a baby, and that's how you do the seva. But when the baby is slightly elder, the baby is slightly bigger, not just Bala Bhav, but also Kishore Bhav comes into the picture, where the child is slightly matured. So for 15 days of stipulation, right between the day of Janmashtami till the day of Radhashtami, 15 days, a palna is being glorified for the Thakurji. Now, celebrations are of 3 types. The first celebration is called Utsav. Utsav generally happens at your own home. Now, I'll have to teach you a little bit about mandir architecture. Since all of you have gone to Nathdwara, all of you have gone to do Navneet Priyaji's darshan, you've seen a Lalan sitting on a Simhasan, and that particular room where Thakurji is sitting is called Nij Mandir. Nij Mandir. Utsavs generally happen in Nij Mandir, in the inner sanctum where Thakurji resides. The next stage is called Mahotsav. Mahotsav is the stage where Thakurji comes one step out. Now, right after the Nij Mandir comes a place called as Tibari. There are 3 doors to it. And the center door is where Thakurji sits. That's where he gives the darshan. And this particular Tibari is the expanded form of celebrations where you need more efforts to do the Utsav. And hence the word Maha Utsav, Mahotsav, Maha plus Utsav. 2 words combined, it's called as Mahotsav. The third one is called as Maha Mahotsav, which Yogini auntie will relate to because Shri sings a kirtan Maha Mahotsav Shri Gokulagam. Why is it called Maha Mahotsav? Because this particular Utsav is no more restricted to the Nij Mandir or the Tibari, It has come to the area which you call it as chalk in your house. What's a chalk? It's a slightly larger area where too many people can gather. And that's why in Nandraiji's home, a Maha Mahotsav has been organized. Why? Because it's no more related to only Nij Mandir or the Tibari. The Utsav is actually happening in the chalk. For us, this is our chalk. Now, in a Maha Mahotsav, there are 7 Utsavs that are celebrated simultaneously. In a Maha Mahotsav, there are 7 Utsavs that are celebrated simultaneously. The first one is called Vidya Krutotsav. Vidya refers to wisdom, Vidya refers to knowledge. Second is called Danotsav, Utsav of donation. Third is called Bhumi Sanskar Utsav, Utsav of the land. Fourth is called Goshrungar Utsav, Utsav of the cows. Fifth is called Gopakrutotsav, that means Utsav of the male gops. Sixth is Gopi Krutotsav, which is the Utsav of gopis. And the seventh is Vadintra Vadinotsav, which refers to the Utsav of musical instruments. For those people who couldn't write it down, the notepad given to you are for you to make notes. For all those who couldn't write it down, feel free to take a snapshot of this, write it down when you can. So, in the meantime, while you figure out your life of settling with a book and a pen, whether to write or not to write, I have some questions for you. What do you do when a baby boy or a baby girl is born on your house? What do you do first? Now, naming ceremony. That's a. I don't know what you will do. I know what I do. I mean, I know what is done at my home. So tell me. Say directly 30. So my question still stands the same. What do you do once a baby is born at your house? Sure. Who do you inform first? In all my kathas, you're the first person who said we call the Maharaj first. In all my kathas, people end up saying we call family first. You're the first one who is telling me right now that we call Maharaj first. Well, apparently her answer is right. Her answer is right, and I'll tell you what context the answer is right. Currently, your hospital will tell you the birth and date and time. That birth date and time needs to be cross-checked with your Panditji, because Panditji will make something called as Janma Patrika. In English, birth chart. So Janma Kundli, Janma Patrika, birth chart, all of that will be made. After that, they will first come up with certain letters. And those letters will be suggested by them to the family, stating that if you can think of certain names from your side. Back in the days, it was simple. They would give you a list of certain names and you would make a choice out of it. But now parents are a little advanced. So they have decided prior names after referring to some wannabe websites on the internet. And they will tell you this is the name of Lakshmi, this is the name of Saraswati, this is the name of Parvati. And without any validation, you will choose those names thinking, oh, this means that. And then you all introduce those names to us. And then we Pandits look at each other. And then comes that trend of Aras and An. Sorry, no offense with anyone whose name is like that, which has already been stamped and sealed. But that Ara and An, zero reference to any Shastra, zero reference to any of our scriptures, zero understanding whether that Devi or a Devta even is part of Sanatan Dharma culture or not. But because we found it to be attractive enough to exist in the 21st century, we'll name that kid with that particular identity. And that no meaning name will survive. And later, years later, someone will do the numerology report stating, oh, you need to remove one letter out of it. Oh, no, you need to add one in it. Your numbers are not adding up. Your Bhagyank and Mulyank is not matching up. Now, some people be like, नाम में क्या रखा है? It is said in the Shastra that Naam carries personality traits in it. Your name is supposed to technically impact your personality. But then I've seen people with names and equally opposite behaviors. For example, someone's name is Shiv. Now, Shiv is supposed to be calm and composed. But the first thing they do after getting up is Tandav. Then I've seen someone's name as Krishna. They are supposed to be Natkhat, but they are calm and composed as if the sun is sitting over there. So be wise enough while you're choosing names. Consult the right people, refer to the right scriptures, and then do the Namkaran ceremony. This Namkaran ceremony is supposed to happen of Bhagavan Shri Krishna as well, maybe in 40 minutes from now. So now I won't give you a brief about naming over there. But thank you, Tanushri, for being the kind one to call Pandit Ji for asking for a name. Rest other people, सिद्धू अपलोड करे इंस्टाग्राम ऊपर, व्हाट्सएप पर, फेसबुक पर, daughter, son. It's a grateful moment in the family. I'm happy that you have the next generation in place. But then comes this one problem. You know what that problem is called? Pindru. Can we guide them in? It's going to be a good Bharat Milap today. Ganga and Yamuna are going to meet. Meet the organizers of the first Bhagavad Katha in English. And meet the current organizers of Bhagavad Katha in English. It's a Sangam of Ganga and Yamuna. So thank you for accepting my invitation and coming down, Chaitanya Bhai, Rita Ben. Appreciate you flying down. It's difficult to find you in Mumbai, but it's easier to find you in Dubai. But nevertheless, thank you. Nandrai ji is happy about one thing, that Bhagavan. See, first things first, Nandrai ji doesn't know that Bhagavan has come to my house. First things first. Nandrai ji doesn't know Bhagavan has come to my house. Nandrai ji is still thinking I am just a father. I have a baby boy. So there's zero understanding about what the prowesses are, how is he, how strong is he, how mighty is he. There's zero understanding about it. But as a father, the first thing that needs to be done is invite Pandits and organize a puja. And that puja is known as Jata Karma. Jata Karma is the first sanskar that is given when you have the next generation in the house. Now, what kind of pandits are you supposed to call? Like, what is so fascination about pandits? Why are you supposed to call Brahmins only? Why you can't call someone else? So let me give you an example. Since all of you understand the importance of Janoi, it is said that Devtas reside in the Janoi. Now, when Brahmins carry this Janoi, they become eligible to study Ved. They become scholars in Ved. They specialize in pujas, they specialize in yagnas, they specialize in all the Vedic activities. And their implementation is such, their lifestyle is such that they maintain certain standards which allows them to request for the Devi or a Devta to come in the form of an energy from anywhere in the universe to a small piece of beetle or even in the form of a murti, which is called as prana pratishtha. That prana pratishtha invokes the deity for that sometime. That deity accepts all your offerings in terms of puja, and that deity is requested to come back later on whenever you have such incident or whenever you have such moment. That's why on a daily basis, both of you would be doing avahan and visarjan, wherein they request the Devi Devtas to come down, and then later on expect them to come again on a later stage. Now, these Vipras have learned Ved. Studying Ved is essential because Ved is considered to be the first scripture amongst all the Dharmic scriptures. And it is said that the way Devtas reside in a Janoi, it's the same way how Devtas reside in a Brahman. And that's why they are also known as Bhudeva. Bhu refers to the earth, and a Deva refers to deity of this particular Bhumi. Now, what kind of Brahman are we talking about? We're talking about a Brahman who maintains rules and regulations of Brahman, not just mere Brahman by birth. So, just because your surname happens to be of a Brahman doesn't mean you are categorized as a Brahman. So, we as Brahmins have to implement Gayatri Mantra Jap on a daily basis. We have to do a concept called as Sandhya. Sandhya is like our interaction with the Surya Dev. Surya is considered to be Narayan over there. And Surya in return gives us Arogya, that's health, gives us Aishwarya, that's uh, affluence. It gives us Vidya, that's knowledge, wisdom. So there are benefits of for us as well to be synchronized with our nature. So we respect Surya and Chandra as equivalently as we can. We do Surya Narayan's Upasana in the form of by doing a Sandhya on a daily basis. We have to do Yagna Jap. Like at least for me, once I'm landing in India, I'll have to do a what do we say? A prayashchit when we do cross borders. So if we do cross borders, once we go back, we have to do the upvas, change the Janoi and Kanthi, do on a fast for one day, and then only we are eligible to go and seva the next day or do any Vedic karyas as well. Now, is it about there are certain rules and regulations prescribed by the Shastra, and mind you, rules are maximum for the Brahmins, least for the Shudras. People feel it's otherwise. People feel atrocities are against Shudras the max. Just because certain community tortured certain people for their personal gain doesn't mean the entire clan is bad. And I've said this earlier as well, and I say it in all my kathas. Casteism is a proof of concept dumped by the Westerners to create the divide in the Indian mindset. Bharatiya Dharma Sanskriti had quite a happy environment when castes were not caste and they were considered as Varna. And primarily, your professions were also attached with your Varna. Now, for the namesake, certain people would have Varna, they would define themselves as Brahma, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, but their jobs would be completely opposite of it. A lot of people have even demeaned whether a father does X, not necessarily the son should also do the same thing. See, that's the beauty of it. It was not supposed to be treated as a family business. It was supposed to be learnt and then executed. There's a difference between that. Just because you are the owner's son doesn't mean you are capable enough to take the ownership of the business. You have to prove your mettle, and only then you'll be eligible to be the Uttaradhikari. That means the one who is going to take over the business. And same things have happened with a lot of kings in Bhagavad Ji and a lot of other Purans as well, where a king has multiple children. In Yayati's case, it was the same. Only one son came forward to take care of him, and eventually the kingdom became his. Why? Because the rest were not interested in taking care of the father. That's why emphasis has been made on pundits over here. So what do? Once pundits are here, the first thing that they do is Swasti Vachan. You might have heard of the mantra Swastina Indro Vriddashavaha. They recited it yesterday as well. For any positive area, Shanti is essential. And the Shanti is not just about in the inner sanctum. The Shanti overall is essential. Peace is extremely crucial for you to do any dharmic activities. So we were discussing, I think we both were discussing about Vedic hymns certain time ago. See, Ved is an energy at the end of the day. The methodology of the pronunciation and the practice of the pronunciation is going to make the Brahman master that particular Ved or scripture. While they master that Ved, while they master that scripture, it becomes easy and fluent for them to recite. It's all about practice. It's how Yogini Auntie practices Sangeet on a daily basis in the morning. It's how most of you create samagri for Thakurji on a daily basis. You have mastered the art of how to make samagri. It's how Pandits have to do jap and path on a daily basis to master a mantra. It's how a yogic expert has to do yoga on a daily basis to get control over senses and to open the chakras eventually. It's the same way. So Jata Karma is done. And mind you, things have to be done vidhivat. They need not be done ad hoc. Now imagine this: if you go to a restaurant and they serve you appetizers at the last and the dessert at the first, would you like it? No, right? Similarly, in Shastra, let's say I'll make you do Aarti first and then make you do Snan. Do you think it makes sense? And such decent logical flow is there in Puja as well. The first thing as soon as someone comes is you have to first make them wash the hands. First you wash your hands, give them water, give them achman, give them pada sevan, give them snan. After snan, you don't directly serve food, you give them vastra, you give them alankar, you give them abhushan, you give them tilak. After all of that comes Dhoop Deep Naivedya. So I have a question. Try answering it. Think before you answer. When you go to a restaurant, let's say you any fans of sushi over here? On the day of Ekadashi, I'm asking you about sushi. Tough. So let's say your favorite dish is being ordered, and the waiter is going to ensure that it reaches your desk. If you have temptation of food to eat, don't you think the waiter could also have it? And when someone else has a temptation of something, do you think that food is sattvic enough for you to eat? Now let's reverse this table. Let's reverse this state. Let me give you an example of Nathdwara once. More than Nathwara, this is a story of Srinathji. You wanted to hear Sriji's story? Here's one. Srinathji had one sevak whose only job was to deliver the milk which was prepared for him from the Bhoga Mandir. Bhoga Mandir refers to the kitchen. From the place of samagri being made to the Bhog Mandir where it was supposed to be consumed. While it was being transferred from one location to the other, the sevak had an eye on the milk stating that, oh wow, this milk has kesar in it. It has dry fruits in it. It seems to be a rich milk. I wish if I had such milk. And the minute this goes to Srinathji, Srinathji is like, I'm not having this milk. Then there was an inquiry commission. Why? Srinathji said one thing, why don't you feed the stomachs of the devotees first? So that when a samagri is coming for me, at least they don't have an eye for it. Now, this knocks off two things. Number one, you might see certain samagris always being covered. And second, one question that was being asked on the link that was sent, why do we always cover samagris with silk and then offer it to mandirs or offer it to havelis? A, no one looks at it. And B, silk is considered to be one of the purest forms of cloths in comparison to cotton. The soaking capacity of water of silk is lesser in comparison to cotton. That means silk gets spoiled later in comparison to cotton. And that is why silk as a cloth is being tied and given to for samagris. And that's why food is a very private thing. Eating food is an extremely private phenomena. It's not supposed to be done in public in front of random people. It's like if you're inviting someone for dinner, that means the person has to be close enough and your energies align with each other. Why do you think a lot of Sant Mahatmas don't eat at other people's places? They might land up taking just one small bit of fruit or a bit of dry fruit. It's because we don't know what are the intentions of the person who's making that food. And here's the thing in Seva, the person who's making the samagri needs to have that selfless nature. I'm not doing this out of compulsion, I'm doing this out of love. Some people claim that when you are angry, you make better food. You might make tasty food, but whether it is nutritional enough for your body or not is a question mark. And nutrition just doesn't mean fiber, carbohydrates, minerals, proteins, etc., etc. And two, three things that are done. If you remember, while you offer samagri to Bhagavad Ji, they make you sprinkle water. That water is abhimantrit. Abhimantrit refers to it has some energy which has impacted that water. It's not a random sprinkling of water. Vidhi, flow, process. And one request to all of you, please try to maintain this vidhi at a wedding. Stop bribing pundits to do weddings at a short span of time. Stop mistreating Devis and Devtas sitting in the sthapan by you wearing your leather based shoes reaching over there, which you don't even know is fox leather or vegan leather or is made out of an animal skill, and you're literally bringing it to the Devi or a Devta. Think about it. Be a little careful. I'm not saying be fearing of Devi or a Devta, but there has to be certain sanctity that needs to be maintained. Certain decorum needs to be there. We've seen people dismantling the entire mandap just because they wanted flowers to throw during the feras to irritate the bride and the groom at the same time. Not the sanskar that we need to have. You know, a flower, if it is a flower, if it is put in the yagna without any purpose, it's actually an insult to the of the yagna. And hence, if you realize, if you have Maharashtrian friends, people who are Marathi, they don't have flowers during the wedding. They use rice, chokha, akshat, and that is being used for sprinkling as a blessing on the couple which is getting feras. If you can do these smaller changes, I think you'll enhance on your vidhi. Your spiritual self will also be a little better. So think about such things. Now we'll talk for some time about, so this was Vidya Krutotsav, where Nandraji is involved, the Brahmins. Then we'll speak about something called as Danotsav. Danotsav refers to donation to Brahmins who had appeared. Now over here, I'm going to emphasize on the 0.2 million cows that has been mentioned. Nandrai ji lands up donating 2 lakh cows. In order to donate 2 lakh cows, how many cows did Nandrai ji have? Must be in millions. Sandeep ji, any guesses? Mitsuben, any guesses? Ekta Ben, any guesses? 2 million, 10%. Yogini aunty, શું લાગે છે? My what do we say, metric system calculation is not that good, so maybe Utsi or Ayush will have to help me out. How much is 1 crore to a million? तू तो जेपी मॉर्गन में काम करे जरा, वो नहीं बोल. Like 1 million is 10 lakhs, so 10 million is 1 crore, so 100 million is 10 crores. Nandrai ji had 720 million cows, 72 crores. 72 કરોડ ગાયોના રાજા is Nandraji, and he happens to donate 3,600th part of his wealth. 3600 bhag, 3,600 part of his wealth. So whatever your valuation is, next time you have a baby boy in the house, you are supposed to donate 3,600 part of your valuation. It won't be a big figure, by the way. So, hi Baba, ho Baba, don't do this. You don't have fancy surnames yet. You have a good surname, Bhatia surname. Stick by it. Live up to your standards. Donate. And at least you won't release a press article stating I donated 6,000 crores to a hospital or 2,000 crores to a school. Yeah, at least you won't do that, na? Dan is supposed to be done silently, not with Vaja Vajintra stating, "Ha, मैं दान करियो, मैं दान करियो, मैं दान करियो." Do silently, chup chap ekdam. Do it with the right hand so that the left hand also doesn't know that you have done that. That's what our elders used to say. Just do it that way. Don't release press releases unnecessarily. And if you want to do something, then yes, please go ahead. Technically, if I'll say boy, then it'll become a problem. In your case, do for both. Ha, do for both. So, Putra and Putri had some differences. In Putri, the Dan was done generally when she gets married. In Putra's case, when he's born. Good question. Putri was cherished in the house, and when she was made to go from one house to the other, there was a celebration and sorrow at the same time. Celebration in the sense that she is going to light someone else's house. And with that thought, the fire of the daughter's house, fire from the daughter's house, was taken to the husband's house. And that fire was used to lit the house and even make food on it. Now, you might not relate to this concept because you come from an electric friendly country. Now, go 200 years back, or not even 200 years back, just go 70 years back when there was no electricity in Dubai, or very limited electricity in Dubai. The concept was when a woman is cooking food in the husband's house, the fire that is being cooked upon is actually coming from the girl's house. Unlike now, it's not given by the government. There was an emphasis that if I am bringing the energy to your house, I have my own space, I have my own value. So that was the celebration. So that's one. And the second part, because it's an occasion where dan increases my punya. Donation always increases your punya. That's why it used to be done. And when it comes to girls' case now, marriage is a slightly more important event in comparison to the birth. So we are not saying that the birth of a girl is bad. But the real sense of emotion of a father comes out when the girl is going. Because you are going to be someone else's house Lakshmi. You are going to be someone else's house Parvati. And those are the blessings that are received while the wedding as well. Be like Shiva Parvati, be like Vishnu Lakshmi. You're asking a guy who isn't married to explain you this. So it's a tough thing for me as well to do. That's why I don't officiate weddings, I send them. They're experts at it. ए हाथ में टेक्निकली पहला दीवो लाइन जाती रामन दीवो लाइन जाती now people will be behind you for your wedding now ક્યારે કરે છે and putra technically means someone who saves you from a narak. There's a form of a hell. Like hell also has partitions, by the way. Sutal, Vital, Talatal, Rasatal, Mahatal, Patal. So, even heaven has bifurcations. So there are 7 layers up and 7 layers down. So there's a specific hell where your parents are being saved if you have son. Doesn't mean you can't be saved if you have a daughter. Please don't take it so personally. A lot of people come, I don't have a brother, can I do a Shraddh? Yeah, there are possibilities where a girl can also do a Shraddh, but that's the 7th option. There are 6 more layers to it. And if those 6 layers are not present, then the girl is supposed to be active for the family. So a lot of people feel that there is injustice. No, there are layers. Making a woman do something is the last resort in a Shastra space. Now, please make a note of it. There are 5 places where all the Devis and the Devtas reside. There are 5 places where all the Devis and the Devtas reside. The first one is called cows. Guy. One of the reasons why you do Govardhan. One of the reasons why you do Govardhan. The second one is called gold, Hiranya. Third is called Vastra, clothes, preferably the non-stitched ones. Fourth, Tal. Yeah, sesame. And the fifth one, which your community is blessed with, jewels, Ratna. Now, now look at Nandarayaji's thinking, okay? Supposed to say that these five have Devis and Devtas in it. Now, what did Nandarayaji do? Just read the translation over here. First thing, Nandarayaji decorates the cows with cloth. There are jewels. Along with that, there are 7 hills of grains, that is the tal. Jewels are on it. And the cloth is decorated with what do you call jari? Silver jari, golden jari. There was golden jari which was being used over here. In this setup, Nandraji was wise enough to give all the five in culmination. See the way we use one element's oil throughout the entire year now. Ayurveda doesn't suggest you that way. Ayurveda understands the environment and accordingly suggests you which oil needs to be used. It also recommends you which fruits slash which vegetables slash which grains need to be considered. So, and if you're looking for these information, frankly speaking, all of these are easily available in Hindi at least. I'm waiting for an author to translate in English. Yes. No, it's not that difficult. So you give money for the cow. You can definitely give cloth. You can give sesame. You can give gold as well if you want to. Jewel, I'm not sure if you will, but two are pretty much accessible. If you can give jewel, great. If you can give gold, great. See, here's the thing, na. Shastra has those, what do we say, arrangements of how much you need to donate. It's just that we are not aware of. We know philosophically speaking that 10% of the income or 5% of the income of those communities go as zakat. But we also have that. And one of the aspects I covered yesterday, that your wealth can be divided in 5 parts. Similarly, on various occasions, like for example, let's say passing away day of one of our elders, and we feel like donating on that day. Shastra has a certain calculation for that as well. So if we gather these information slowly and steadily, you'll be able to manage your wealth accordingly. And one thing that I like to quote here outright: we fight for our ancestral wealth, thinking that this is ours and it's my birthright to have it. But we never think about that certain part of that money also needs to be utilized for the activities which could be helpful for them. Because we as a community, we as a culture, definitely think about ancestors, purvaj, and what do we call as pitru. And that's why in the previous shlok, if you could observe the last word in Sanskrit, Pitru Devarchanam Tatha. Pitru Devarchanam refers to again forefathers. You do Pitru ka Devta ka puja. So if you are liable to get ancestral wealth, make sure you use the money in the right direction. Not just use it for luxuries and investments of business, also use it for dharma. Whenever change of ownership of money happens, now make sure you have some portion of it mentally prepared that some portion, 0.01% of it at least could go somewhere. So I hope that answers how can we use it in the current context. Now comes my favorite topic, which I've already spoken about a lot in the yesterday's time. It's called Shuddhi. What purifies what? Kala purifies the Vansha. After time, even the Vansh gets purified. Snan purifies the body. Bathing purifies the body. Some people feel, how do we clean the bhumi? Vayu is enough to make the bhumi shuddha. Air is enough to make the bhumi shuddha. How do we know whether the flowers are shuddha or not? Just wash them with water, sprinkle water on them. It's decent enough. Chalo, all of this is easy. How do we purify ourselves? Antakkaran, how do we purify that? Reciting God's name? You are supposed to do tap. And the definition of tap was given yesterday, Ekadashi. एकादशी एकादशी करिए तो व्रज सुख पामिए. Yeah, you're supposed to do Ekadashi for your Antakkaran. Acha, now what if you don't have money? What to do then? Let's say you can't do Dan. Your financial conditions are such, you are in a SAFU, you can't donate much. What do you do then? You can do seva. But let's say you don't have wealth only. Like, nahi hai mere paas. I can't do seva, which requires monetary presence. Sorry? You can help other ways. I'll give you a slightly simple solution. Santosh. Contentment. Sometimes contentment will make you purified, and that purified self of yours will be able to take better decisions. And I'm not sure if we are like in a situation where we could travel 40 miles here and there to help someone else as well. Logistically, sometimes people feel tired. So when you don't have that much wealth to spend, to spare, first what you need to do is become content. Once you become content, once the backlog is off, take step forward and move along. And last but not the least, inner self, to you mentioned. What to do about the soul? How do we purify the soul? After interacting with this body, na, the soul goes through problems, by the way. You only say na in Gujarati, Jeev ghabrai chha. Not to hurt anyone. So I'll give you a solution. Knowing yourself is a good way of purifying your own soul. So the questions like who am I? Where am I from? What do I need to do next? What is my conscience all about? Why am I existing? What is my purpose? When such questions starts coming in the life, it's called as Atma Vidya. Atma refers to self, Vidya refers to wisdom. When you have a self inquiry, that's one way of purifying your inner self. Now, Have you sat for any Vedic chanting ever? When Pandits are only reciting mantras and you feel like there's some different form of bliss altogether? થયું છે આવું? Yes, no? Ved, the richa, the mantra, have vibrations. And because it has vibrations, it behaves an alternative, it behaves like an alternative to therapy sometimes. Like lot of patients undergo through something called as a musical therapy. They specifically listen to certain form of music because it's emotionally healing them somehow. The rhythm of the Vedic mantras is something on the similar lines. And along with all of these, in the Nanda Mahotsav, lot of people are welcomed, specifically Gayakaha. What are Gayakaha? People who sing. This trend somehow has shifted from birth in the family to marriage or wedding in the family. Because you might have seen a lot of musical based wedding these days, where feras are happening and they sing, Vidai is happening, they sing, Antarpat is happening, they are singing. Singers change the mood, change the environment. Music is like garnishing the entire cuisine that you have made. And mind you, our Srinath ji feels extremely incomplete without music. Srinath ji feels extremely incomplete without music, till that extent that whichever darshan he is in, he expects someone to sing for him, someone to play the musical instrument for him, someone to do the kirtan bhakti for him. Some people ask, what kirtan do I need to sing today? The question is, what darshan are you seeing in order to sing the kirtan today? Kirtans don't define the seva done defines the kirtans. And the kirtans are a good base of understanding the seva. For example, what Chitraji can you see here? Chitraji or Srinathji that you see over here, if I ask you, what is the dressing that Srinathji has? What is the vastra that he is wearing? How many of you will be able to answer that question? Chakdar. What is there on the mastak? Yeah, what is there on the Shringar? Tell me. Ghera and Gokarna, whoever said it is right. Then it is it Halke Shringar, Madhya Shringar, Bhari Shringar? Is Thakurji wearing Mojaji or not? Choti ji is on which side? So next time when you're going to do Srinathji's darshan and all you can say is Srinathji's darshan was beautiful. And if I ask you what was he wearing and you can't even answer that question, oh bhai, kya kar rahe ho? This is not like a normal Devi and a Devta who wears a mukut and same color clothes on daily basis. My Srinathji is extremely customized. He needs 360 days, 360 different clothes. And mind you, whatever he's wearing on his head defines the mood for the day. %, as per my learning of the seva, 99% this particular painting is of the day of a Chappan Bhog. Because Gokarna and Ghera as a combination come only on the days of a Chappan Bhog. And what is Chappan Bhog? Chappan Bhog is nothing but an invitation to Thakur ji along with Nandarai ji and Yashoda ji to go to Sri Swamini ji's place, Sri Radhika ji's place, at Kirti and Vrishabhan's place And the samagri that is being made for Thakurji is called a chappan. Now I'm going to say a few words which are specifically for Yogini Ben. Why? Because she has been singing over the period of years. And she recites this one line, Dwaja Pataka Toran Mala. Sabhe Singar Saje. Dwaja Pataka Toran Mala. Sabhi Singar Saje. તો હવે આ ધ્વજા પતાકા તોરણ અને માલાનો ફરક શું? Okay. Okay. ધ્વજા એટલે ફ્લેગ. પતાકા એટલે જેમાં સ્વસ્તિક કર્યું હોય એ પતાકા. માલા ફૂલની. તોરણ. તોરણ શેનો? તોરણ કપડાનો. કાપડનો તોરણ. અને પાનનો પલ્લવ. વૃક્ષોના પાન is પલ્લવ. This is the detailing given by Mahaprabhuji in Subodhini. So you might casually listen to Dwaja Pataka Toran Mala on casual day in Seva, but this is the detailing behind it, that Dwaja is something that you have seen, it's a flag. Pataka, it has a Jaya Shabda, Jaya refers to, over here is a swastik. Toran, Mala and Pallav. Mala is generally made out of flowers. Toran is made out of cloth. And that's why in Pushtimargiya Havelis, when you go to do darshan, you might see cows in a toran. Then that cows and the toran is made out of a cloth. Next time when you go to do Bar Dubai to do darshan, observe these things. And next time when you go to anyone's place for Janmashtami's darshan, you'll be able to see these things. Acha, now tell me one thing. Who takes more time to get ready, men or women? Men even. બધા એકબીજા પર નામ જોડી રહ્યા છે. Now, please don't give me such vague answers. Frankly, tell me who takes more time to get ready. Even if you don't want to answer, don't answer. I have an answer for it. Over here, for men, Shukdev ji is using one shlok. And for women, Shukdev ji is using more than one shlok. I am not married, I can't comment on this. So, thank you for mentally preparing me. Achha, now what to do when someone's birthday is there? What kind of clothes should you wear? Bling. આ તમારા લગ્નના ફંક્શનના કારણે છે ને એવા એવા ઇન્વિટેશન આવે ને, વેર ફ્લોરલ એન્ડ કમ, વેર બ્લિંગ એન્ડ કમ. Then I call that person, I'll wear dhotia and come. Stop harassing people by having demands that please wear this and come. And I tell you, which is the most abused cloth in the entire house, the yellow color kurta of haldi. It's the national dressing of any Indian wedding. That one kurta is being used everywhere. Haldi never had such big craze back in the days. And now there is Haldi and Sangeet. હું ખર્ચો નથી કરવાનો, પહેલા કહી દઉં છું. હલ્દી પ્રોગ્રામ મારા ઘરમાં જ નહીં થાય, મારા ઘરની મારા ઘરમાં થશે, ઓલીવાડી એના ઘરમાં થશે. એ સાથે મળીને મારે ડાન્સ બાન્સ નથી કરવાના. સંગીત સંધ્યા મારામાં નથી થવાની, તમારે જે કેવું હોય કહી દેજો. કીર્તન સંધ્યા કરશું, સંગીત સંધ્યા નહીં. હું નાચવાનું બેસવાનું નથી કહે. હા ચાલશે એ બને. વિવાહ ખેલનો મનોરથ કરાવું, હું સંગીતમાં નાચવાનું નથી. માય પંડિત સર ઓલ્સો દે આર જસ્ટ બિહાઇન્ડ મી. કરો હવે, બહુ થયું. So even Shukdev Ji Maharaj understands that women take more time, and it's more descriptive for women more than anything else. Now tell me one thing, how do you get to know the good news about someone's birth? Yeah, it's true. It's true. There's a transition from ears to eyes now. The transition is from ears to eyes, but back in the days, at least they had ears. Like they still have ears, you still have ears. But the news travels because of the ears, and that's why the gopis who were there in Vraj, they ensured they decorated their ears first by wearing kundal. And what kind of clothes are you supposed to wear when you go for Shri Thakurji's Utsav? You're supposed to wear Amulya Vastra. Amulya refers to, Amulya doesn't mean doesn't have value. It means which is beyond value. Yeah, you got it right. You absolutely got the sentiment right. Those are the kind of clothes that's supposed to be worn when it comes to Thakurji's Seva. And Thakurji should feel like looking at you. My devotee has come to me. So the beauty of gopis has been mentioned. All of them are walking towards Sri Nandaraiji's house. And some of them are Yashodaji's, some of them are, most of them are from Yashodaji's side. And that's why they have been said as Yashoda's gopis. And they all go to a place called as Nandalai. Nandalai refers to Nandaraiji's residence. They all reach at Nandaraiji's residence and they all gather around. Now please tell me what happens at a birthday party at your house. Please describe a birthday at your house. What do you do? Let's say if it's of your children. Utsi, what did you do? Play games, cut cake, share gifts, smash cakes, decorate house, music, dance, return gift, decoration of the house. What else? Go to temple as well. Sure. Morning temple, evening party. एकदम गोठवेलू बधाए बराबर. And what about those midnight celebrations where people, is it a culture here? Do you have a culture? Midnight bombs and midnight spanks and whatnot? Still other culture? Oh, wow, saras. Delete Facebook rather. Delete Facebook. 1,000 people wishing you happy birthday, they don't even come and meet you personally. Nevertheless, see, now kindly relate to the entire description that you gave with the description that you had yesterday and the description that we are having right now. Apart from the cake cutting, I think we have a parallel match in most of these things. Now, what if I tell you your cake cutting concept is new? We had a similar concept before you. Where? Because Nandaraiji was fully flooded with makhan. Instead of applying cake, they used to apply dahi. They used to apply makhan. And instead of smashing it on each other's face, they literally used to take, I can't call them bowls, but vessels and vessels of dahi, and they used to smash it against each other. Till that extent, when Yogini auntie sings Janmashtami Kirtans, she'll end up singing, I forgot the term, wait 1 second. Nand ke dadi kado. Now, what does Nand ke dadi kado means? At Nandraiji's house, it's muddy, but there's no mud. It's all curd. It's all sticky because of curd. Why? Because the entire flooring is just full of curd. And that curd is not mere curd, it's mixed with turmeric. So if your flooring is white, it will turn out to be yellow for a day. And maybe a little, like maybe a few more days. And that smashing starts, and they start blessing Thakurji. Why? Because this is one such event where gopis give blessings to Thakurji stating, Chirajiyo Gopal. Rani Tero, Chirajiyo Gopal. So at one place, Nandraji and Yashodaji are playing Thakurji the cradle in the Palana. All the gopis and the gopis, they come out. They start dancing, they start singing, Nand Gher Anand Bhayo, Jai Kanaya Lal Ki, Hathi Dine, Ghoda Dine, Aur Dine Palki. Now, if I have to culminate this entire Katha into how it's implemented in Thakurji's Seva, then on the day of Janmashtami, Shri Thakurji's darshan are opened in Mangla. Shri Thakurji's Kirtan is being sung at that time, Mangal Roop Nidhan Savro, Mangal Roop Nidhan. After that, Thakurji undergoes through a phase of Shringar, and prior to that, he gets Panchamrit. So Thakurji's Abhishek is done from Panchamrit. Why? Because it's his day of incarnation. And after that, Shringar is offered. So all new vastras are offered to Thakurji. After that, Tilak is done of Thakurji. That day, Tilak is done with Kumkum. Post which, Thakurji is ready for Rajbhog. A lot of people have a habit of julofying Palna on the day of Janmashtami. But wait, Thakurji is yet to be born at midnight. So the evening goes by, everything is normal and same. By the time it's 11 o'clock at night, we have a kram called as Jagran Ke Kram, Jagran Ke Kirtan, where some 21 kirtans are sung in front of Thakurji. A 30-minute break is given, and at 12 or 12:40, whichever time is suitable, Shri Thakurji's darshan is opened again. While Shri Thakurji's darshan is opened again, prior to that, 8.5 verses are being recited in front of Thakurji. And then Panchamrit happened once again, because that was the time when Thakurji had incarnated. And after that, one big seva is offered to Thakurji, which is called as Mahabhog. Now, this Mahabhog is primarily maybe 3 times the size of Rajbhog that is generally offered. And it's kept for about 3.5 hours for Thakurji to even take. The amount of time you take to do a Giriraj Parikrama is the amount of time this bhog is kept at midnight. And then continuation in the morning, Thakurji is now shifted to the Palna. Nandraiji comes, first Yashodaji comes, Nandraiji comes, all the Gopa Gopis come, and they start dancing the way you guys danced yesterday. There's a group on one side, there's a group on the other side. They go and smash each other in celebrations, they hug each other, and that's what they were singing yesterday, Heri. Heri is giving news to each other and hugging each other out of madness and celebration. Vrajvasis were not that literate, were not that learned, but they had one thing in them, and that was enthusiasm. This was the craziness of Nanda Mahotsav, which lasted for 6 days, and maybe even for longer duration of time. So it's highly connected with. Acha, one last question, and that will conclude the story of Nanda Mahotsav. The question is, Nanda Mahotsav is done on Navami. But is Nanda Mahotsav a part of Navami's Seva or Ashtami's Seva? Think about it. You don't need to answer me right now. If your answer is Ashtami, then your answer is right. Because after the Palna is done, so if you go to Nathdwara, for all those people who might have gone to Nathdwara, you might have seen this. A group of Kirtanyas sing in the center. People are circulating and continuously saying Nand Gera Nand Bhayo Jai Kanhaiya Lal Ki, Hathi Dine, Ghoda Dine, Aur Dine Palki. That happens in the center, happens on the other side, happens in the big chowk, and then 16 kirtans are being sung continuously in front of Thakurji. Prank Paryanka Shayanam, Lalayati Dolika Muncha Shayanam, then Vari Mere Latekan Pagadharo Chatiya, then Priya Navaneet Palane Jhule Shri Vittalanath Julave Ho. Then it's just beautiful. It's just way beyond beauty. If you get a little affinity towards Kirtan Sahitya, you will be like, oh wow, Krishna Bhakti is done in such beautiful expressions altogether. Such poetic effect is there in the Bhakti, it's just beyond words. And this is where Sri Nanda Mahotsav concludes in 18 and a half shloks. And Nandaraji happens to visit his friend Nanda Baba in Mathura. Vasudevji. And Nandaraji and Vasudevji meet each other. There's a recommendation from Vasudevji stating, go back to your Gokul as soon as you can. Why? Because things are going to change over there. And on the sixth day, when a guest is going to come to feed Bhagavan Shri Krishna, that's the time when Nandaraji is not around. Now tell me one thing, since you live in a very secured country, what could be the reason for someone who's not supposed to be at a particular place? How can he or she enter a particular area? What could be the reason for someone to have an unauthorized access? Fantastic. Leak in the system? Know somebody? पिक्चर ही नहीं देखते आप लोग? Breaking of trust, sure. Fantastic. Disguise, yeah, very good. There's a term in military called blind spot. You find a blind spot. The blind spot in this case, so there are two factors that will play over here. Number one, there's a blind spot. The blind spot is the cows are not at Nandaraji's house. That means the cows are gone for grazing. That means there are lesser people at Nandaraji's place. And second, Nandaraji himself is not in the house. So a lapse of such moments allows someone called as Putana, who happens to be a Rakshasi. In the past 6 days, she has killed as many newborn babies as they were present in Vraj. That means she's cruel, she's extremely cunning, she's extremely smart, and in Shastriya terms, she's a Ghatki. Ghatki refers to a murderer. Now, it requires a very cold heart to kill babies, but she is just like Ashwathama. The only difference is Balak Hatini, she's the one who's been killing babies left, right, and center. Now, why is she be able to do this? It's because of one reason. She has Maya. And Maya not necessarily always be in the favorable side. Maya can also be in the non-favorable side. And she happens to be one such case where Maya is not in the favor. Now, when the cows were not around, and at the same time when Nandaraiji was not around, it happened so that Putana got a chance to go inside the house. While she was visiting inside, people were awestruck while looking at her beauty. Since people were awestruck while looking at her beauty, no one could even question her and ask her, "Who are you? Where are you from? What are you here for?" And because that was a window, she was extremely pretty, she was extremely mesmerizing. The gopis couldn't even ask her. The gopis were also awestruck that they could even ask where exactly you are from. While all of this happens, she directly has access to Bhagavan Shri Krishna. She reaches over there and she starts taking the baby in her arms. She starts feeding the baby. While she's feeding the baby, Bhagavan realizes that I need to do something for her. Bhagavan starts sucking the soul out of her. While Bhagavan is sucking the soul out of Putana, Putana is saying, Muncha, Muncha, leave me, leave me. Putana changes her form from a beautiful lady to an extremely demonized format, which is very cruel, and she falls on the ground with way huge size that Bhagwan Shri Krishna was actually on her chest. And people heard a huge sound of Putana falling down. They thought an earthquake might have struck. But the minute they come out, they see this entire incident where Putana is lying and Bhagwan Shri Krishna is on her. Rohini and Yashoda become extremely worried. Now, since Rohini and Yashoda become extremely worried, they bring Thakurji next to, even they don't know that he is Thakurji, and they bring Thakurji back, they bring Krishna back, and they utilize two things. What are these two things? Three rather. First one is called Gomutra. Second one is called Gomaya. And third is called Goraj. Gomutra, a lot of people go to spa and they feel if we have done spa, we are extremely pretty and beautiful. We had this one case. We had gone to Gokul some time ago, and similarly, we interacted with some people, and they were like, "We have done spa, we have done beauty, we have done makeup, we've gone to a beautician. Why do we need to use Gomai, Gomutra, and all of these things to do a Shuddhi of ours?" Mind you, well, you can read enough scientific backings if you want to. Some people might feel offended when I say this statement, but there's a there's improvement in health for certain people who have gomutra, which is fresh. Now, for that, you need to have access to a cow. On one side, when the world is moving on the veganism angle, I'm talking about animal welfare and animal based products where machinery was not utilized while milking the cows. And the original process of seeking milk from a cow was that the calf is supposed to have the milk first and only the leftover was used for consumption. Unfortunately, the times have changed. People are making the massacre out of this entire process and system till that extent that they milk the cows until the droplets of blood fall down. And somehow the laws are not in favor of having cattle in the city. I'm not just talking about you, I'm talking about even Bombay. Bombay has a ban on cattle. All the cows that you see which are kept in the temples are illegally kept. A monthly maintenance is going to a BMC officer so that he doesn't come for checking. What kind of a country we are in? We call cow as mata, and at the same time, we also allow beef to be sold in that homeland. One of the reasons why we need Hindu Rashtra, though it's far to be achieved, But we don't have any homeland anymore. Just to know, Nepal was the last country which was considered to be Hindu. It's not anymore. Under the pressure of their neighbors, even they had to turn out to be secular. Alarming state of mind. Bhagwa is not the only Hindu that we need. We need an intellectually stronger nation who is deeply rooted to their own culture and at the same time know the advancements. Say, I read about Gomutra someday, read about Gomai someday, read about Goraj someday. Till that extent that in North India, the wedding timings are supposed to be Godhuli. Do you know what's Godhuli? Godhuli is the time when the cows come back after grazing. Technically, the sunset. And that's when North Indians generally wed. The fairas are at that time. Now, Putra is using Bhagwan's various names. Bhagwan's name is Aja. Aja is being utilized for the raksha of the feet of the baby. Anyone who has a newborn baby is crying a lot. You can recite this Putna Kavach for your baby. A, won't have bad dreams. B, definitely recited for the protection of the baby. When I say the word baby over here, I mean both boy and the girl. There's no bifurcation about it. Similarly, Bhagwan's name is Yagna. And when the word Yagna is being pronounced, the protection of the thighs happens. Bhagwan's name is Hayagriv. When Hayagriv is being pronounced, at that point of time, the, the stomach is being protected. By taking various names of Bhagavan, the various body parts of the baby are being protected. And this was the thought behind Putana Kavach, where may it be Bhoot, may it be Pret, may it be Yaksha, may it be Rakshas, all of these won't even appear and won't even hamper till that extent that if a baby is getting bad dreams, there's a scientific backing behind it. Even though the babies can't communicate with you, they still get bad dreams. All of those can be stopped by reciting the Putana Kavach for the baby. Till that extent that this is not just meant to be utilized only for the babies. In case if there are elders who are going through the similar situation, that you're getting bad dreams and bad omens in your dreams, you can recite the Putana Kavach part and it will ensure that you are safeguarded. Nandrai ji comes back and he gets to know that something like this has happened. With which we move to the next Leela of Parikshit is now engrossed in listening to Bhagavan Shri Krishna's Leela. And he is extremely excited. Why? Because Bhagavan's charitra is Adbhut. Because charitra is Adbhut, Bhagavan wants to know, Parikshit wants to know what all has happened after killing of Putna as well. So one of the first Leela that comes into the mind is called Shakat Bhanjan Leela, where Shakat means a cart. Now, please don't take otherwise, don't take personally, rather try to find a good meaning out of the Katha that I'm going to narrate to you now. Some of you are wondering, why am I not singing any Kirtan? It's not because Girish uncle is not there. It's because you don't have the vibe to have the Kirtan right now. It's not on me, it's on you. No, I want Kirtan. I can ask for Kirtan anytime I want. My and Yogini auntie synchronization is awesome. I have zero complaints for her. I have zero complaints for anything rather. But remember one thing. The way Shrota is, the Vakta does the Katha that way. Katha is not dependent on how the Vakta wants to do. Katha is dependent on the vibrations and the energies that Shrota give. Let's go. Love the spirit. There is a what did I say that day? Vibe check. This is the silentest most I've ever been in my life, till that extent that I can listen to the AC as well today. Sthita pragnasya ka bhasha. मजा आ गई. Would you like to know the incident behind this entire story? Like, what is the root cause behind it? What's the code word?
Yes.
Good. People have forgotten it. See, this story might attack you. And if it's attacking you, let it get attacked. Yeah? Don't try to defend yourself. And hear this katha very peacefully. There's a small process in our sanskar system. Generally, the delivery of the babies used to happen in the house only. So the babies never moved out of the house. And there was an entire celebration for the baby to even come outside of the house. And that celebration was known as Authanik. Authanik was a celebration generally done at the age of 4 months. Now, for Authanik celebration, Nandaraiji had invited a lot of people. So, Nandaraiji and Yashodaji, since they had invited a lot of people, a lot of guests had come to their house. Yashodaji thought that I will keep the baby below this cart, and then I will be able to attend to all the guests. For whom this entire puja was organized, the Pandits were called, again Swasti Vachan happened, Brahmins got the done, people were extremely happy, decorations were done. Now the main identity of the house was sidelined, and because Thakurji didn't get attention, and Thakurji saw an opportunity, there was an asur called as Shaktasur. Now you will find demons in various formats. So keep your logical mind aside for some time. A demon in the form of cart is going to be there. This demon is going to be destroyed by Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Not just destroyed, all the makhan, ghee, dahi, curd, milk that was kept on the cart. Bhagavan Shri Krishna happens to be touch his feet. The cart turns. The cart is broken, all the materials kept on it is broken, and it was an alarm to Yashoda and Nandraiji that you kept your Thakurji aside and engaged yourself in all the other worldly activities. That is my validation. Krishna Kanaya Lal Ki Jai. That is my validation. That means Thakurji is listening my katha. 100% listening to my katha. There's zero doubt in it now. But शांत थे क्यों जो nature gives you signs and symbols from places you can't even imagine. When you sideline Bhagavan Shri Krishna, remember one thing, he is the epitome of attention. Epitome. Center nahi, epitome of attention. He will find ways to get that attention back from you. Now, Nandraji and Yashodaji are surprised that this incident of cart has taken place. Right? While this incident has taken place, let's get an inquiry done. Who did this? They still don't have the belief that it was Bhagavan Shri Krishna who did it. So they were asking the children around over there, can you please tell us who did it? Everyone said it was Bhagavan Shri Krishna who touched his feet to this cart, and that's how your cart has broken. One sign and symbol, Yashodaji and Nandraji still didn't go in that direction. And where's Ektaji's son? Call him. Where is he? Pick him and bring him down. We'll take a 1 minute break. I need that boy to come down. I'll tell you why. Yesterday, we were having a discussion and he was asking me what will happen tomorrow. Surprisingly, Kahan happened to mention that there'll be a whirlpool that will come. Now, what is that whirlpool? Just look at the next slide. મને ઓલું કીર્તન યાદ આવે છે 7 વર્ષ કો સાવરો ખેલત નંદ દુઆર કહત વ્રજવાસિયા. How old is he? 5? 8, not bad. Close by. એ ટેણીઓ તૃણાવર્તની કથા બોલી રહ્યો હતો કાલે. એ ઓલું વર્લપૂલ ક્યારે આવશે? પવનડર ક્યારે આવશે? આવી ગયો. Hey, Kahan, come down. See, this is the beauty of doing a private katha. You don't have to worry about the audience. Look at the screen. Can you relate to it? Who's that? Yeah. Trinavarta. Correct. What happens?
Yeah, so Utsav Krishna,
Huh?
high up to the sky, ready to drop him.
Correct.
But Krishna, he bit him.
Huh?
Yeah, and then
Trinavarta. Yeah. What happens to him?
yeah, he got hurt. He was bleeding,
He was bleeding.
and then he fell, and then he lost his wind, and then he fell all the way down.
Round of applause for you, my friend.
And then just Krishna just got it.
Lovely. See, you got validation from the baby over there as well. Thank you. Thank you for coming down. Now you're free to do what you want to. Okay? Your job for the day is done. Go. See, this is the beauty of giving sanskar at an early age. You might wonder, what is this whirlpool? What is this twirling of wind? What is that Putana doing? All of these are avatar. All of these are rakshas with negative sentiments and emotions. These are negative emotions, and these negative emotions are being dealt with. All these negative emotions are being challenged by Bhagavan Shri Krishna. In our language, it's called avidya. Avidya refers to ignorance. And you need Bhagavan Shri Krishna to give you the vidya. You need Bhagavan Shri Krishna to give you knowledge. Now imagine this, a mere child, some months old, is being taken away from the house. You want to call it tornado, you want to call it hurricane, you want to call it wind, you can call it whatever you want to. But that wind is finding the weight of the baby to be extremely heavy that it cannot handle it anymore. And that's how Trinavarta is being destroyed by Bhagavan Shri Krishna. And personally, if you ask me, there are 3 terms that we need to associate with the Trinavarta that we saw earlier. There are 3 roadblocks in your life which somehow are stopping your spiritual progress. Would you like to know these 3? The first one is called Kama. Kama refers to lust. Lust is a major blockage on your path of spirituality. The second one is called Krodha, anger. Anger generally is an outcome of an incomplete desire. When things don't go your way, anger arises. And the third stage is called greed. Greed. And greed makes a person blind. This interpretation is given by him. Vallabhacharya. Heard of Sattvic, Rajas and Tamas? Tamas Gun, Rajas Gun and Sattvic Gun. Kam, Krodh and Lobh are a part of Rajas Gun. Kama, Krodha and Lobha are a part of Rajas Gun. And Rajas Gun's nature is to continuously keep you active. Rajas Gun's job is to continuously make you active. And since the job is to keep you continuously active, it will find ways to come back. The lust will find a way to come back. The anger will find a way to come back. The greed will find a way to come back. In Gujarati, we have a very beautiful statement. जीभ सुधरे तो जिंदगी सुधरे. जीभ सुधरे तो जिंदगी सुधरे. जीभ सुधरेगी तो जिंदगी सुधरेगी. आंख सुधरेगी तो आत्मा सुधरेगी. If you get control over your tongue, you may have control over your life. But if you get control over your eyes, your inner self is going to be blessed for sure. This is only the place where I'll expect you to be the three monkey. This is the only place where I'll ask you to be a three monkey. Otherwise, I'm not in favor of the entire ideology of that person. But yeah, remember one thing. This body is a barren land. And because it is a barren land, whatever you put on this barren land will have after effects. Right from food to experiences to emotions to expectations, everything. And that's why we consider this body as a temple. Sharir is considered to be a mandir. Just think about it. Are you giving justice to your mandir or not? And to all my friends in the youth, there are 4 things that I want you to consider. Now, you may consider yourself young at the age of 70 as well, doesn't matter. Being youth is more about the mindset more than the age. Being young is more about the mindset than the age. We have a story or a varta of a Vaishnav called as Shet Purushottam Das. Shet Purushottam Das was a Vaishnav in Kashi. He became aged after a certain years. His son thought I should help my father by supporting him in seva. So one day he became ready and went for the seva early. While he was observing his father, he realized that his father is of 35 years of age and he is more active than myself. It's more about the mindset. And while you are in your prime, see, people prime at different ages. Your financial growth can happen at a different age. Your prime can come at different age. Your success can come at different age. But if you can keep 4 fundamental principles in mind: authenticity, being brave, being character driven, and being decisive. If these 4 pillars are also maintained, it's going to be helpful for you. Authenticity is an acknowledging what you don't know. When I was interacting with Ayush today, he said one very good statement. He said, I don't know what I don't know. And that's where growth is. Why? Because an unexplored era of opportunities is pending for you. Acknowledging that is being authentic. મને નથી ખબર જે મને નથી ખબર. Good. Being brave. Confronting your own your own negative emotions, your own negative feelings requires bravery. Bravery just doesn't mean the ones who have fought battles outside for the country. Brave also means people who have destroyed their inner demons. We sing it in Kirtan Sahitya. Tajamana Hari Vimukhan ko sang. Being character driven. You might have wrong examples being at the top. Don't treat them to be your idols. You might see the most corrupt person being at the par. Don't treat them as your idols. One very good statement my school's director used to make. He used to say, Satya परेशान हो सकता है पराजित नहीं हो सकता. The truth can be troubled, but it's never going to lose eventually. The word is eventually. That means you need to keep that patience. And last but not the least, be decisive. Have decision making power. Whether to do or not to do can't be like I'll deal it on a later stage. Take a step, make a decision, and be ready to embrace the results as well. So even if you have taken a wrong decision, it's fine. There'll be an effect on your quarterly result. There'll be an effect on your yearly result. There could be an effect on your 5-yearly result. But don't be that regretting baby who's just going to continuously whine about a wrong decision which is being made. Life is too short to have regrets. While dealing with Trinavarta, these are the things that you can keep in mind. Now Bhagavan's Leela is going to change a little. Bhagavan is going to give signs and symbols to Yashoda ji कि मैं कुछ हूँ. मैया मोरी मैंने ही माखन खायो, मैं नहीं माखन खायो, मैंने ही माखन खायो. So Yashoda ji gets a glimpse of the entire universe in Bhagavan's mouth. Now I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but Kans Mama still doesn't know where Bhagavan is. Kans Mama still doesn't know where Krishna is. And because they don't know where Krishna is, they had to come up with a secretive naming ceremony of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. I am going to introduce you to a concept called as Purohit. Do you know what's a Purohit? What's a Purohit?
Family priest.
Family priest, absolutely right. Purohit, Kula Purohit. Kula Purohit is generally of the entire lineage. Purohit is generally for the family. And this particular Purohit is responsible for all the pujas and the ceremonies that happen in your own house. Right from naming till Anta. The Purohit is supposed to be there, standing by in your good and bad times. Nandraji, that Purohit was someone called as Gargacharya. Gargacharya was the one who was the Purohit of the house. And there was a condition between Nandraji and Gargacharya stating that if we get to know that Krishna is born, then it will become a problem for us because Kans will get a whiff of it, and because of that, he'll start attacking. Nandraji said, I am owner of such a huge land, I'll give you such a place where people won't even come to know that we have done a naming ceremony. And mind you, this Than still exists in Gokul, where Thakurji's Namkaran is done. Gokul is a magical land. People have preferences of being at Vrindavan. Try to get the essence of Gokul first and then go to Vrindavan. Vrindavan has one Bethakji of Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya. Gokul has 3. Am I saying Vrindavan is less important? No, I'm not saying that. But I'm surely saying that understand the importance of Śrīmad Gokul where Thakurji has resided. The first certain years of Sri Thakurji has been in Gokul only. We sing Gokul Gama Suhavano. Now tell me one thing, whose naming ceremony should happen first? Elder brother, younger brother? થશે પણ મોટા બ્રધરનું જ. થશે પણ મોટા બ્રધરનું જ. In this case, Balramji, remember one thing, the word Ram is repeated 3 times. Ram for Ram, Ram for Parshuram, and Ram for Balram. And Ram is a Kalyankari name. It can be taken in any avastha at any given point of time. Till that extent that when someone is on the deathbed, Ram, Krishna, Hari, these 3 names are taken anyhow. And one of the reasons why when the Anta journey happens, people also say that Ram Nam is the only truth. Why? Because Ram itself is a Tarak Nam. So Ram is one word which is associated, Ram is one Nam which is associated with Sri Balramji. The other name that Balramji has is Sankarshan. Brings me to a topic, how many names do you all have? કેટલા નામ છે તમારા બધાના? I'm just asking, how many names do you all have? Sorry? First name, last name, middle name. मजा आ गई. मजा आ गई. Absolute correct answer with an absolute different context. Shastra recommends to have 3 names. Now go and ask your Pandits who are doing naming ceremonies. Why didn't you tell us this? 3 first names. 99% they can correct me if I go wrong. I think it's Mas Nam, Nakshatra Nam, and I think the third one is Devanam. Mas can be substituted with Rashi as well these days. So Masa, Nakshatra and Daiva, these are the 3 categories that I have studied. Bhagavan also had 3 names, so did Baldavji. And then comes the 4th name, which is the common name, which most of us have. So generally, back in the days, I think the problem is more than Vastu is the numerology effect. But now then we need to decide on the belief system whether we want the Western or the Eastern. Because back in the day, for example, just change your signature to Hindi, it's easier. And anyway, all these famous personalities have signatures that you don't even understand. Apart from Prime Minister of India. Yeah, his signature is way big. And no itself is so big. High sign of ego. Though he's not egoistic, but showcases a sign of leadership altogether. Anyway, not going into graphology. Coming back to the Leela. Thakurji also has 3 names. Sankarshan also has 3 names. That's Balramji also has 3 names. Your homework for the day is which were the 3 names. Your homework for the day is which are the 3 names of Balram and which are the 3 names of Krishna. Some people might even chat GPT and Google and come back. I'll tell you whether that answer is right or not. Now comes the Leela of Thakurji. When the strength of Thakurji is increased. And now Thakurji starts troubling, irritating, doing masti, making fun. Engagement with Yashoda ji is increased. And from Lalan, Thakurji is now facing Tadan. What is Lalan and Tadan? Lalan is Are Mera Raja Beta. Tadan is Maro Mathan Dukhavo. Lalan is possible till the time the baby is not running. Tadan is only possible when the baby starts taking the entire house on the head. And there's one famous incident where Thakurji is playing in the mud, playing in the dust. And Yashoda ji lands up calling Bhagavan, were you Sukar in the previous birth? Were you pig in the previous birth? Now, Bhagavan is not in a situation to say, ha, I was a Varaha avatar in the previous birth. Bhagavan is merely smiling over here. But the beauty of Bhagavan Shri Krishna's Leela is that now complaints have started for him. And there's one very famous Katha. The Katha is of Prabhavati Kaki. Do you know Prabhavati Kaki? How many of you have heard Prabhavati Kaki before? કેટલા લોકોએ પ્રભાવતી કાકીની કથા સાંભળી છે? કોઈ નથી સાંભળી? હા, ચંદ્રા's mother પ્રભાવતી કાકી. ઓકે, કોઈ નથી સાંભળી પ્રભાવતી કાકીની કથા? એ તમે બે તો સાંભળી છે. I'm a little surprised. First things first, Prabhavati Kaki's Katha is not of Bhagavad Ji. Let me clarify that to you. Now, who is this character Prabhavati Kaki and why Shastri Ji is so obsessed about it? Once upon a time, Bhagavan Shri Krishna decides to go and do Leela. The Leela is Makhan Chori. Now, you already know about Bhagavan Shri Krishna's Makhan Chori Leela, stating that he used to go to various gopis' places, steal the Makhan, and no one could ever catch Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So, one use case where gopis would come with a complaint to Yashoda ji that your Kana is this, your Kana is that. But Ma being Ma, Mera Raja Beta sabse acha, never entertained any complaints. Burai to tere mein hi hai. My baby boy has done nothing wrong. And that complaint led to a situation where Bhagavan decided, chalo, let's go and attack this Kaki called as Prabhavati. Now, in Gujarati language, it is called Aje Manorat Prabhavati Kaki na Ghare Che. Now, the entire Gopamandali of Bhagavan Shri Krishna, Dauji, Bhagavan himself, go to Prabhavati's Kaki's place, open the door, enter the house, find a place where all these matkis are being hanged against the ceiling. Very skillfully makes his steam go up, reaches to the top, he goes up, and then starts accessing the Makhan. In one of the other Leelas, if you read Kumbhandaji's Varta, you will realize that Bhagavan Shri Krishna, when he was standing up and trying to have Makhan, his dhoti slips. And just to get hold of his dhoti, Bhagavan has to produce two more hands. And now from Dvibhuj, Bhagavan becomes Chaturbhuj. With two hands, he's trying to maintain his balance and trying to grab the Makhan. And the rest two are being utilized to control his dhoti. Something what Sandeep Bhai has been going through since last 4 days. થાકી ગયા બિચારા ધોતીથી. પણ મિત્સુ બેનની એમના પર છે કૃપા. Be welcome for 3 more days. Then no one is going to bother you for dhoti. Then you and Dhoti can get a divorce for some time. In a similar Leela over here, the only difference is Prabhavati Kaki gets a catch of Bhagwan Shri Krishna. Now Prabhavati Kaki decides to make a revolutionary example that I am the one who has caught Bhagavan. I'm the one who has caught Krishna. Finally, that other gopis have failed to do so. With that emotion, Prabhavati Kaki takes charge of Krishna, walks past the main chowks of Gokul, and reaches the place of Yashodaji. Knocks on the door of Yashoda, calls out for Yashoda, stating, "See, I've got someone really special for you." Prabhati Kaki is asking, "Where is your Krishna?" Yashoda is like, "He's having Rajbhog with me." Prabhati Kaki is like, "How is that possible? I caught him red-handed right now. I told you before as well that your son is a artwork and keeps on troubling everyone else. And now finally I've caught hold of him. Let me show you your kid." Prabhavati Kaki leans a little forward, brings the kid forward, and Yashodaji and Prabhavati Kaki are looking at the kid. Both are at a shock. Yashoda starts laughing. "Whose Lalan is this? Is it mine or is it yours?" Prabhati Kaki is like wondering for 1 second and looks at the face of the baby and realizes that this is not Krishna, this is my own. Now Prabhati Kaki is questioning herself, didn't I catch hold of Krishna some time ago? तो एक का डबल कैसे हो गया? In the meantime, when Prabhavati Kaki was walking by the lanes of Gokul, Bhagavan Shri Krishna swaps himself with Prabhavati Kaki's own child. And now Bhagavan Shri Krishna walks from the inside of the house stating, "Maya, what happened?" Prabhavati Kaki is stuck again. Again, Yashodaji is explaining to Prabhavati Kaki, "Please don't come with false accusations and allegations." Prabhavati Kaki is gone for the day. Prabhavati Kaki has good relations with the husband. They both sleep at night. Bhagavan Shri Krishna enters their bedroom at night. Prabhavati Kaki is blessed with long hair, and so is the husband. The difference is Prabhavati Kaki has good hair on the back side, and the husband has good hair on the front side. Bhagavan Shri Krishna ties them. And Bhagavan Shri Krishna leaves. Next day morning, tea time, Prabhavati Kaki wakes up. Along with her waking up, someone else is also waking up. Prabhavati Kaki is moving forward, and now the husband and wife need some coordination. And since they need some coordination, they realize that we are being stuck. And guess who comes at the door? Jamaisa. Prabhavati Kaki's Jamai is knocking at the door, and they are seeing Prabhavati Kaki in the front, Sasraji on the back. What is happening in this world right now? And Prabhavati Kaki eventually confesses that this is the problem statement that I am in. Everyone is trying to solve this knot, but no one is being able to. Let's go to the root cause of this particular situation. Now look at the scenario. In a big bazaar, Prabhati Kaki is walking in the front, Kaka is walking on the back, and they are stuck because of a knot between the two hair. Eventually, they reach at Yashodaji's place. Prabhati's Kaki is asking for Yashodaji. Yashodaji, Kana is there. What happened? We just want to meet and speak with him. Bhagavan Shri Krishna comes out and looks at Prabhati Kaki. Will you complain about me next time? Nah, Prabhu. I'll never make that horrendous crime ever. But here's the beauty of Gujarati language, how my ancestors used to narrate this. The knot was tied by Veni Madhav, and you need Madhav to break that Veni. And that's the reason Prabhati Kaki and Kaka go to Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Veni Madhav is Bhagavan himself. Get the knot untold. Kaka goes, Kaki stays, and promises, next time when you come, I'm not going to catch hold of you anymore. This very notorious child was also the one who would leave the cows and calves of various people at their houses at different times of the day. You know why? Because he wanted to reduce. So if you read this, Vansan, Vatsan, Munchan, Kvachita Samaya, Rosha Sanjata Hasaha, it means he used to go to various calves, various houses, open the calves. Cows would randomly walk out of the house. They would go for grazing. The idea was to reduce the production of milk, which is going to Kans's place, because Bhagavan wanted to send a message to Kans stating, I'm ready for you. Why should we pay the tax to you when you are the one who is not going to take care of us anymore? I am the king of Raj. This tax is not going to you anymore. I am going to be the one to consume this milk and ensure that I am nourished enough for be ready for you. Multiple such Leelas Bhagavan has done. Breaking of vessels, feeding the monkeys. Till that extent, it's funny to say this, but the place where cows would urinate, Bhagavan would fall on that ground and continuously hover around that. You cannot separate cow and Gopal. It's just impossible. Once again, Bhagavan Shri Krishna happens to consume the soil, and this brings a moment where Yashoda ji and Devaki ji has done enough punya in their previous birth to be born as mother and father of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Comes a Leela of Damodar. It's a very known Leela. You already know it, that Bhagavan Shri Krishna was hungry, and at the other side, Yashoda ji was trying to heat food or eat her milk. Bhagavan wanted attention, but Bhagavan was asking too much for it. Yashoda ji lost her calm, lost her control. Yashoda ji is trying to tie the knot, tie the rope on Bhagavan's tummy. But she is always falling off of 2 fingers, the distance of 2 fingers. Do you know why is it 2 fingers? The question is to you. Someone's main car is buzzing. The reason why it was always falling short of 2 fingers is because of 2 words, ahanta and mamta. Ahanta is I and mamta is mine. For people who have these 2 words in your life, I and mine, Bhagavan is never going to be tied with you. The minute you will release I and mine from your life, there's a higher chance that Bhagavan might get tied with you. Eventually, Yashoda ji leaves this I and mine, and Bhagavan gets tied with the rope because Bhagavan wants to do grace on Yashoda ji. And because now Bhagavan has been tied up, Bhagavan starts crawling towards 2 trees. And those 2 trees gets liberated as Manigrif and Nalakubar, who happen to be the sons of Kuber. There's a very beautiful verse, and I want all of you to repeat it after me. Namaha Parama Kalyana. Can't hear you enough. Namah Parama Mangala. Vasudevaya Shantaya. Yadunam Pataye Namaha. Bhagavan himself is Parama Kalyana. That means he is all benevolent, he is all auspicious. Kalyan and Mangal are complementary to each other. How is he? He's Shanta. See, just for a Leela purposes, Bhagavan is doing mischief doesn't mean that his original Swabhav is not Shanta. Would you like a baby who's always sitting calmly, composedly in a very depressed manner? Or would you like to chase him out of love and affection? Bhagavan is just implementing those rules of a boy. He's making you chase. And at least he's making you worthy of that chase to be able to be enough to chase him. He's at least attracting you. And eventually, these Manigriv and Nalkubar also are able to do Bhagavan's stuti by reciting Vani Gunanu Kathane, Shravanau Kathayam, Hastau Chakaramasu, Manastava Padayorna. See, you might spend a lot of time in using this speech for gossiping. You might speak ill about a lot of people, but how about using your Vani for a Gunakatha of Bhagavan? Do you want to know what happens when you do the Gunakatha of Bhagavan, when you do Kirtan, when you do Satsang? Do you know what happens? Would you like to know a story?
Yes, yes.
It's a very simple story. There are two stories rather. There's one story where Bhagavan is being questioned by Naradji as to where do you live? Where do you reside? A lot of people have always said that Bhagavan resides in Vaikuntha. Bhagavan has a slightly different perspective. Bhagavan says, neither do I reside in the hearts of yogis, nor do I reside in the Vaikuntha. It's where my devotees are singing about me. That's the place where I reside. For all those people who might have gone to Nathdwara, Srinathji's opposite side there's a temple of Vithalnathji. In Vithalnathji's temple there used to be an Acharya by the name Harirajji. Harirajji was also responsible for Srinathji's seva in the initial days when he shifted to Nathdwara. Some other dharma people went to Harirajji and complained that your Vaishnavas make too much noise. Harirajji said, do me a favor, come at night, I'll show you why do they make noise. Those people, along with Harirajji, went to see the Sakha Mandi of Vaishnavas where they were singing various Leelas of Thakurji. To their surprise, they saw Thakurji dancing in the middle. This is the Mahima of Bhagavan's Satsang or Bhagavan's Gunakatha. Bhagavan is also the one to witness it. And this requires faith. You have faith, he'll appear. You'll have to be like Prahlad. Now is the time where Bhagavan transmits from Gokul to Vrindavan. And Gokul is not going to be safe anymore. Bhagavan has to do different Leelas in Vrindavan. Since Bhagavan has started to walk, Bhagavan goes to seek permission from mom and dad, Nandraji and Ashodaji. And he seeks the permission of at least being a Vatsapal. Do you know what's a Vatsapal? Vatsapal refers to someone who takes care of the Vatsa. Vatsa refers to calf. A lot of people feel that he's only Gopal, but even before he becomes Gopal, he's actually a Vatsapal. And while being a Vatsapal, an Asur comes into the picture whose name is Vatsasur. Vatsasur, on the other side, Vatsasur is a demon that Bhagavan ensures that he slays him down, followed by one more Asur that comes by is called as Bakasur. Now, Baka has a beak. Do you want? There's a reason why Bakasur has been destroyed by Bhagavan. The thought behind that is Bakasur's two beaks are representing two things: Lobha, that's greed, and Asatya, that's untruth, false. Generally, these are complementary to each other. When you have greed, you lie, and you lie for greed. They always go hand in hand. What did Bhagavan do? Split them. Remember, I've already spoken about business with a mindset of profit over greed. There's a fine line behind it. Your ethics and morality, what is profit and what is greed? Your will define it. Your inner self will define it. Something which is taking you to slightly unethical spaces altogether, which has exposure for you. See, there's a difference between unethical practices for regular business versus something that is an exposure altogether. Exposure will bring you defamation. Defamation will bring you decline in business. Your reputation will get destroyed. That is not something worthy to be done. And second thing, Bakasur also represents something called as hypocrisy. Please don't give advices to people that you yourself won't implement. I don't give dietary advices to people. Rather, I ensure that the person eats exactly what I'm eating, provided they're comfortable eating. It's easier to shoot in air when you don't know where you are supposed to shoot. You need an outcome, you better not be a hypocrite. And hypocrites are called as vanchaks in our language. It's easier to be a friend, it's easier to have relations with someone who doesn't understand you rather to be friends with someone who is a hypocrite. So please look around you. How many hypocrites are you circled with? And see if you still need to maintain relations with them or not. Later on, Thakurji does one beautiful Leela. This Leela happens to be one of my favorite Leelas as well. This Leela is where Thakurji goes to the forest and Thakurji does Vana Bhojan. આપે આજ દધી મીઠો મદન ગોપાલ ગાવું પડશે. તૈયાર થઈ જાઓ. What is the beautiful Leela over here? What you call it as picnic slash bring your own food. Mind my words, BYOF. Arre, bring your own food. BYOF. All the kids of Rajvasis get their own food. Bhagwan's friends, Subal, Shridama, etc., they have not been mentioned by names directly, but other Granths do mention these names. They are the ones who get food and they exchange food amongst each other, out of which Bhagwan happens to be in the possession of a beautiful, very tasty curd. This amazing curd, this very tasty curd is something that Bhagwan is tasting. And while tasting it, Bhagwan is reciting, this curd is one of the finest curds that I've ever had. And here, when Bhagwan does something out of the line, Bhagwan is now sharing this curd with everyone else. That's when Brahma ji has a question mark. On one side, we treat him as Bhagwan, and on the other side, Bhagwan is doing such low-lying effect. Bhagwan is doing such low-lying Leela. While people were relishing and enjoying while everyone else was relishing the curd, it happened so that Brahmaji became envious. And Brahmaji took all those friends. Brahmaji not just took all those friends, Brahmaji eventually કાલવાળી તકલીફ મને પાછી કેમ થઈ? Ripple effect કહેવાય, ripple effect. The idea of ripple effect is if one yawns, other is yawn. One cries, other cries. One coughs, other coughs. હા ભાઈ, મારું તાપમાન થોડું વધારે છે. Better get it on. It means I have a higher temperature. You better turn it on. Translating it for you, my friend. Thank you. Utsi is a cutie. So Brahmaji takes away all those friends. Brahmaji has taken all the cows. Brahmaji has taken cows, calves, and Bhagavan intentionally did this Vanabhojan Leela. Why? Because everyone who saw Bhagavan wished for a baby like him. We all have that one parent who always wanted neighbor's baby. Never appreciated the own baby. And this is when Bhagavan, so now they have a Manorath. So let's do one thing. I will become the baby. I will become the calf. I will become the boy. I will go to their houses. I will stay there for 1 year. And that's how all of them got a chance to nourish Bhagavan without even knowing that it was Bhagavan. And for 1 whole year, Bhagavan takes their forms. And eventually, after a year, when Brahmaji comes back, Brahmaji realizes everything is intact. I've made a mistake. Definitely, Krishna is not normal. Gets down on the lotus feet of Bhagavan Shri Krishna and does a stuti by reciting Naumidyate Bravapushe Tadidambaraya Gunjavatansa Paripichala Sanmukhaya. I'm going to emphasize on the word Gunja for a minute. I'm assuming you all know what's a Gunja Mala. For people who don't know what's a Gunja Mala, Srinathji Thakurji gets one Shringar, which is made out of red, white, and black color beads. Chanoti, correct. Which is called Gunja in the regular language. Let's just say if you don't have any Shringar, but if you offer one Gunja Mala, it's equivalent of completing the Shringar. One of the reasons why this Shringar is always offered at the last of the entire Shringar. It's supposed to be the one to be completing the entire Shringar. There's an entire bhav behind it, but maybe someday in life we'll explore that. Brahmaji extols Bhagavan Shri Krishna. He is the one who is wearing garlands which are made out of various flowers and leaves. He is equipped with a stick. He has a flute. And the beauty is he has a morsel of food in his hand. And it's beautifully sung by the Kirtanyas when they sing Jinan nahi khayo suno re bhaiya meri hatheli chaat. And that divine Brahma just interacts with friends by merely making them taste that curd. Eventually, Bhagavan kills Dhenukasur. Bhagavan saves his own group. And you have heard one story, one Katha of Bhagavan Shri Krishna, where a ball has gone. Bhagavan goes to get the ball, happens to interact with the snake. The snake is vicious in nature, happens to be of the name Kaliyanag. And if you go slightly offside, slightly on a different side, and you listen to Narsi Mehta, Narsi Mehta will sing like this: Jad kamad chandi jane bala, Swami amaro jagashe man marashe, tane baad hatya lagashe. The last line is also equally beautiful. Narsayyana નાગ પાસેથી નાગણે નાગ છોડાવ્યો. So the Leela is Kaliya Daman. Kaliya Nag by himself had a lot of ego. Now Bhagavan is gracious enough to stand on the head of Kaliya Nag. Not just that, when he dances, I'm not sure if you know this, but the tongue of Nag is called as Fana. Bhagavan is dancing on the Fana of Kali Nag. Supposed to be poisonous. Generally, you all treat the ultimate dancer as Nataraj, but your Natavar is doing a different form of dance altogether. So Kaliya Daman Leela is where Nagapatnis, that's the wife of the Kaliya Nag, they show their devotion to Bhagavan Shri Krishna, and it's a very beautiful interaction. Maybe someday in life do uh, get to know more about it. But we'll recite this one shlok, and you might see some similarities in the shloks that I've picked up in the previous days as well. Here the shlok says, Namah Krishnaya Ramaya, Vasudeva Sutaya Cha, Pradyumna Yaniruddhaya, Satvatam Pataye Namaha. Namah Krishnaya, hey Krishna, we bow down to you. Ramaya, Rama in this case is Balabhadra himself. Here Ram and Krishna are one. So Balabhadra and Bhagavan Shri Krishna put together. Vasudeva Sutaya, you are son of Vasudeva. Pradyumnayani Ruddhaya, sorry, father of Vasudeva is your father, you are son of Vasudeva, you are Vasudeva yourself. Vasudeva Sutta, Sutta refers to son. So Vasudev's son is called Vasudev. That's the connection. Kunti's son is called Kaunteya. That's the connection. Kaushalya's son is known as Kaushal Nandan. Something on those grounds. So, Pradyumnayani Ruddhaya, Pradyumna and Aniruddhas, whose incarnation will happen in some time from now. And Satvatampati is that Bhagavan is considered to be the patis of Satviks, not Tamas and Rajases. Kalinak's story continues further, and Bhagavan happens to consume fire. There are two instances where Bhagavan consumes fire. Bhagavan also kills an asur called as Pralam, and Bhagavan consumes fire once again. Daval and Agni by itself has its own importance. These are all part of 5 forms of avidya. Which are the 5 avidyas? They are called as adhyasa in Sanskrit. Adhyas in this case is either a misunderstanding or it's a lack of knowledge. So I'll give you one such example out of the 5. There are people who confuse their breath as soul. There are people who confuse their breath as soul. These people are considered to be undergoing through an adhyas by the name of pranadhyas. In Shastra it is said, until the time pran stays in your body, your jiva is going to stay. Because of that thinking, people feel that my breath itself is my jiva. And this is a complete misinterpretation of the concept altogether. The jiva is going to sustain till the prana are there. They are separate identity altogether. This phenomena is called as pranadhyas. It requires knowledge for you to rectify this. And that's called vidya. So all of these 5 demons represent some of the other avidyas, the ones that we discussed recently. One of them we even expanded upon, that was Bakasur. Now comes the beautiful season of rains and autumn. You have heard of the seasons as summer, winter, and rainy. But if you think from a Bharatiya perspective, the seasons are divided into 6 parts. Grishma, so Vasant is going on right now. Grishma will step in. Then you will have Varsha, you will have Shishir, Varsha, Hemant, Sharad. All of these are various ritus that we have. So instead of dividing the seasons into three, we divide them into 6, and every 2 months gets one ritu. And there are environmental changes, there are climate changes, there are dietary changes, there are changes in the way cosmos is also functioning. So all of these changes define a lot of changes in the seva as well. Thakurji's interaction with the nature also changes accordingly. For example, during the rainy season, Thakurji would like to be under the tree. During autumn, Thakurji is also during the season of summer. You have seen Thakurji seen spending a lot of time near Yamuna, near the river. During winter, Thakurji would spend time in house. And the beauty is, since Thakurji is someone who's taking care of cows, and Thakurji is also taking care of uh, the calves, Thakurji has spare time to use his flute. And since Thakurji has spare time to use his flute, Thakurji utilizes his flute to attract the gopis of Vraj. This is one shlok that most of you have heard, and if you know, you can recite it as well. Barha Pidam Natavara Vapuh Karanayo Karanikaram Bibradavasah Kanaka Kapisham Vaijayantim Jamalam Randhran Venor Adhara Sudaya Purayan Gopavrindair Vrindaranyam Swapadaramanam Pravishad Gita Kirti. We've been stating that Thakurji has a peacock feather. The reason behind the peacock feather is that peacock is considered to be the most selfless, without any selfish intention, and that's why peacock's feather is being offered to Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Bhagavan has it on his head. Bhagavan is wearing kapish vastra, kanakavarna, primarily which are gold in color. There's a reason why Bhagavan wears yellow clothes. Do you want to know why? It's the color of Ved. It's the color of knowledge. That's why you can see Kanaka Kapisham over here. Yellow garment which is as brilliant as gold. That's what is being emphasized upon. So the translation will give you the details of what is the color. But the reasoning behind that will be only developed if you go in the depth of it. The depth cannot be achieved by merely reading translations. Now, if you remember, I had told you on the first day that Thakurji doesn't have snake. Vaijayanti Mala. There's a second line, Vaijayantim Jamalam. Now, Vaijayanti is a group of combination of certain flowers and leaves put together, and that's how a Vaijayanti Mala is made. See, back in the time, harmonium was not a part of seva. Why? Because there was this concept in Sangeet called as Anurana. And Anurana was one concept which was available in the flute. And that's why flute was something was A, preferred by Bhagavan, and B, it was also utilized in seva. Inclusion of harmonium came at a later stage. Prior to that, Tanpura and Sitar were the ones which were used in Thakurji's seva. How is Bhagavan Shri Krishna? When Bhagavan Shri Krishna plays his flute, people get hypnotized. Gopis can't do their own duties. Everyone is so mesmerized. ऐसी बंसी बाजी वन घन में व्यापक रही महामुनि की समाधि लागी. See, I have to look at you and I have to look at her as well. I have to look at you for all the general things. She comes from a special side of knowing the kirtans. So I have to, it's like you like baklava, I have to offer baklava to you. She likes monthal, I have to offer monthal to her. So my life is not that easy as much as you think. And then comes a Leela which is called as Chiraharan Leela. Lot of people have a question that what was the necessity to Bhagavan? What was the necessary intention behind Bhagavan to do this? Why did he steal clothes of various maidens over there or various gopis over there? Let me tell you one thing. You can't enter a water body naked. There was a horrendous crime done by the gopis. Bhagavan had to teach them a lesson. That's the reason Bhagavan did this Leela. Never enter a river naked. Always have clothes and do the snan. Just to reinstate Dharma, Bhagavan has done this Leela. So don't think otherwise. Anyone who questions this intention, just give them this one line answer. Tirtha has its own Mahima. Nadi has its own Mahima. Yamuna has its own importance. There can be deeper insights behind it. But at the starter, this is good enough for you to know that Bhagavan has done this Leela for this intention and this reason. Now comes a very important Leela. It's the Leela where Yagna was being done by Brahmins. And for Yagna, Samagri was needed, and the Brahmin wives were supposed to deliver those Samagris. Friends of Bhagavan Shri Krishna were testing Bhagavan, stating, you said that you are well known, people know you. Let us see if we go to these Pandits, will they give us Samagris or not? When Pandits were doing the Yagna, when Brahmins were doing the Yagna, they went and took Bhagavan's name, stating, we are here from Krishna's side, kindly give us something. Pandit said, we are occupied, go ask somewhere else. Bhagavan said, you went to the wrong people. When you are hungry, whom are you supposed to go to, dad or mom? Change of party. Now instead of going to Brahmins, they went to Brahmin wives. And as soon as they went to Brahmin wives, whichever samagri they had, which they had prepared for the yagna, they gave it to them. When Brahman Patnis go to Brahmins at that point of time at the yagna, the Brahmins extol Brahman Patni, stating that we couldn't understand the importance of Bhagavan who came to us, but you understood the value of giving to the ultimate reality. This is your bhakti. And that's where Bhagavan Shri Krishna graces the Brahmins. Now you all are, must be wondering, why is he not telling us about the Katha which is there right down? It's because even I have certain affinity towards certain Leelas. And it's not like you haven't heard Govardhan Leela earlier. But I am certain about one thing, you never heard the Leela of Nanda Mahotsav the way I might have explained it to you. It's not me who was explaining it. It was he who was guiding me to explain it to you. And Krishna's Leela is such that you can get attracted to any of these Leelas. I'm telling you a part of Govardhan Leela right now. I'll tell you a part of Govardhan Leela tomorrow as well. With me now, you always have a double dhamaka. You do Nand Mahotsav twice, you do Govardhan Leela twice. The only thing that we won't do twice is Bhagwan's Vivah. Because we have to do it 16,008 times. કોઈને બે વાર કરવા છે? પંડિતજી આવ્યા છે. Now the discussion is on at Nandraiji's place that Indra Puja is coming and we have to prepare for Indra Puja. Bhagavan is like, I am sitting over here. Why are we going to outright ignore me and focus on some other Devi and Devta? Bhagavan is like, when I am there, I am the center focus area, I am the center point of attraction. I am not going to let Indra Puja happen. So in return, now Bhagavan becomes the lawyer and Bhagavan argues, Why do you want to do Indra Puja? Indra gives us rains. Indra just gives you rains, na? Govardhan gives us everything else. You want grazing land for your cows? Giriraj gives you. You want places for us to find and relax? Govardhan gives this to us. You want us to go and enjoy somewhere? Govardhan gives that to us. Our cows are being taken off. Govardhan gives that to us. Everything that we do on our daily basis, Giriraj is responsible for it. Why do you want to go to Indra? Brings me to two words for you. The concept is ashray and anyashray. Ashray refers to taking refuge. Anyashray refers to once you have taken refuge to someone, you can't be crossing borders and going to someone else. In other words, if you are not a Pushtimargiya Vaishnava, you believe in the Panchadev, which we have spoken earlier, you can take ashray in any one of them and you can move around, turn around, whatever you want to. But the minute you have taken ashray of Bhagavan Shri Krishna, Bhagavan expects exclusivity clause from you. Exclusivity clause in what sense? You might face hell or heaven. One place that you are supposed to be is the lotus feet. And Bhagavan doesn't expect this exclusivity from all. He only expects it from the people that he has chosen. How do you know if you are the chosen one? When you have that tap inside you that no, I want to serve you. If you don't have that tap, don't bother. But if even a part of your conscience is pricking you that I'm not being able to do your seva, I'm not being able to relate to you, I want to re-establish a relationship with you, I want to serve you better, guide me better, you are the chosen one. And this Bhagavat is technically meant for the chosen one. That's why Srinath ji is demanding. He wants your attention, wants your time, wants your space, wants your efforts, wants a standard of way of doing things, wants your commitment, wants your peace. Why? Because he wants to occupy you in all forms. I've said this in earlier kathas as well, and I won't hide this. Once I had a chance to go to Las Vegas. Happened so that I met a Vaishnav over there and I resided at that Vaishnav's place. They took us around to see the architecture. At 0.01% second as well, we never felt like that we are exploring areas outside of what Las Vegas is known for. We were actually admiring casinos and the discussion that we were having over there at that time. If such architecture is put in Thakurji's Seva, wouldn't it be nice in Thakurji's Seva? If such flowers are used in Thakurji's Seva, wouldn't it be nice if we do a Bagiche Ka Manorat for Thakurji? If we utilize that fountain like that, wouldn't it be nice if during the days of summer when Thakurji gets fountain? I was awestruck. I'm like, you are in the sin city and your behavior is absolutely sinless. That's the devotee I'm talking about. That's the commitment that I'm talking about with Thakurji. And he is only expecting from a certain people. In order to facilitate that, Bhagavan says, I am not going to let you all do the puja. We all will do Gosav Yag, Govardhan Yag, which is the Govardhan Ka Yagna. They are like, I don't know how to do Govardhan Yagna. I will teach you how to do Govardhan Yagna. Anyone who feels, why am I facing what am I facing? Please read this. कर्मणा जायते जंतु कर्मणैव प्रलीयते सुखम दुःखम भयम क्षेमम कर्मणैवाभिपद्यते. Whatever you are facing is a outcome of the karma. And to tell you who can make you come out of this cycle is the one who has made that karma. So call the Brahmins, call everyone, Instead of Govardhan Yag, instead of Indra Yag, we are going to do Gosav Yag, we are going to do Vaishnav Yag. And that's where the philosophy and the practice of Annakut started. So first the Govardhan Puja will happen. Pujan chaleri Gopal Govardhan. Pujan chaleri Gopal. એક જ આવડે સારંગ જ આવડે, બીજું કંઈ નથી આવડતું. એમાં અમારી 70% સેવા થઈ જાય છે. પવિત્રા સારંગ, પેલી આલાપચારી સારંગ, વૃંદાવની સારંગ, મેક્સિમમ કથા I mean majority Utsav. So Bhagavan Shri Krishna is the one who is leading the entire puja. He ensures that everyone goes to do Shri Giriraj's puja. Manasi Ganga's water is being utilized, Doodh is utilized, Dahi is utilized. Giriraj gets an Abhishek. After getting the Abhishek, Giriraj is offered with Vastra. Giriraj is done with Tilak. Giriraj gets a Mala. Giriraj is offered with certain Bhog. And with the feeling, Annakut is offered to Giriraj. And the beauty about this Leela is, people are questioning why are we offering it to Giri. Bhagavan gives an answer. I am the Giri. Shailosmi. I am the Giriraj. I am the Govardhan. And you are offering it to me. And while offering the entire Samagris, Vrajvasis are extremely happy because Govardhan Leela is one such place that you are allowed to bring Samagris from outside and offer it to Giriraj. Outside in the sense you can cook it at your place and offer it to Giriraj. There's an entire beautiful bhav behind Annakut Leela as well, which I explore at a later stage. But right now, the aspect of Annakut is that Kut refers to that, if you see that heap of sakhdi or the rice that's there, it was as used as the height of Girirajji. That much amount of sakhdi was offered. And name the samagri. Kachariya, papad, sukhmani, some 40 types of kadis, multiple dals, chana, kheer, payasam, chas, what all not was offered to Shri Girirajji that day. The entire Vraj could take the prasad, that much amount of samagris were offered to Govardhan. And Bhagavan was the formidable one. While doing all of these things, Indra gets a whiff of it, stating that while my Leela is happening, before Indra gets a whiff of it, would you like to do the Parikrama of Girirajji? Do you know what is Parikrama of Girirajji? Yes. Parikrama is the circular form of Girirajji that you do. That's what you are supposed to do. So, by sitting over here, let's assume that you are standing right in front of Mukharvind of Shri Girirajji. You do Dandavat Pranam to Mukharvind of Girirajji. And on the opposite side, there is Shri Vallabhacharyaji's Bethak. You do Dandavat Pranam to Bethakji as well. And then you start singing Vrajna Dhani Che Giriraj Chalo Parikrama Kariye Krupa Karo Re Maharaj Chalo Parikrama Kariye. But I won't make you sing this complex statement. I'll say Vallabh Vitthal Giridhari, you have to say Yamuna Ji Ki Balihari. What are you supposed to say? Vallabh Vitthal Giridhari, Yamuna Ji Ki Balihari. And how will you say it? You will say it by complementing it with your hands. Vallabh Vitthal Giridhari, Yamuna Ji Ki Balihari. Vallabh Vitthal Giridhari, Yamuna Ji Ki Balihari. Pause. So I'll make you pause and play. So I'll do this and I'll do this. I'll do this and I'll do this. You'll understand the sign and do it. Are you with me? Yes. Then ahead there is a Dandvati Shila to whom we do Dandvat. And on the backside of Dandvati Shila there is Srinathji's Mandir. And then comes the town of Jatipura. Town of Jatipura is where Srinathji's mandir has been established at the top by a Vaishnava called as Puranmal Kshatri. And while moving forward, a lot of other places also come. All these pictures are taken not from the internet, but my father Shastriji himself has contributed for these pictures. So credit goes to him for certain detailing that you might see right now. It's always the elders who take the efforts, the fruits are always borne by us. So credit goes to him. I remember him, I thank him for this. So Bilchukund is one place where Thakurji has done Leela. And this is the beauty about Bilchukund. Followed by there are Janajan Vruksh. There are multiple trees where Thakurji has done Leela. A place where Thakurji has accepted Dan, is accepted tax, which is called Danagati. And the governor of the entire place is called Chakleshwar Mahadev, who happens to be there. Close by, there is a Mahaprabhuji's Bethakji. And then comes to a place where Mansi Ganga, where Thakurji incarnated Ganga from his own mind. Why? Because Thakurji had to do Snan. We'll again start singing Vallabha Vitthal Giridhari and we'll move forward. Vallabha Vitthal Giridhari, Yamuna ji ki balihari. Vallabha Vitthal Giridhari, Yamuna ji ki balihari. Vallabha Vitthal Giridhari, Yamuna ji ki balihari. This is Uddhav Kund, happens to be Uddhavji stayed over here. Uddhavji used to do Nama Sankirtan. Then comes a place called as Sri Radha Krishna Kund. Radha Krishna Kund is also one place where Mahaprabhuji, Gosainjis, Girirajis, all these Bethakjis are present. Mahaprabhuji also used to do Sandhya Vandan over there. Radha and Krishna, they have their own kunds and combined together is called Radha Krishna Kund. Thakurji has done Leelas over here. You can do darshan of Mahaprabhuji's Betakji, you can do Girirajji's Betakji, Gopalnathji's Betakji. Then separate Krishna Kund and Radha Kund are also there. Then there's a World Heritage space called as Kusum Sarovar. It's recognized by UNESCO. Apart from that, Naradji has his own Kund. Kund refers to a place where there's water primarily. Then again, while coming back, we do darshan of Mansi Ganga. We come to Dangati again. And then we come to a place called as Chandra Sarovar, where Thakurji has done Rasa Leela. Chandra Sarovar is also known as Adi Vrindavan. Chandra Sarovar also happens to be the place where Sri Vallabhacharya's son Sri Gosainji has been away from Thakurji for about 6 months. So his Betakji is also there. Surdas Ji's place is also over here. And it's also known as Ras Mandal no Chabutro. This is the place where Ras Mandali had happened. So the Ras Leela that we listen to tomorrow, we'll find some origins over here. It is said that Sri Swaminiji was thirsty, so well was being made by her. So Sri Thakurji used his own flute and got this well made. It's still being preserved till this day. So doing pranam to this particular place, we'll start singing Vallabha Vitthal Giridhari, Yamuna ji ki balihari. Shri Vallabha Vitthal Giridhari, Yamuna ji ki balihari. This is the place where Sadhu Pandey's house is there. Sadhu Pandey's house is where Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya stayed, and later on heard about Srinathji being incarnated on the top. And later on the next day, Srinathji goes, Sri Mahaprabhuji Vallabhacharya goes and meets Srinathji on the top of Giriraj Govardhan. So this is the place. Sankarshan Kund, this is one place of Sri Baldavji. Later on again, Raghav Pandit's Gufa, Govind Kund, Mahaprabhuji's Betakji again at Govind Kund. Govind Kund is the place where Indra is going to ask for forgiveness. The Katha will come tomorrow. Apsara Kund, Chittaswami, Daoji's Mandir, and one place you all have heard, Puchri ke Lotha ki Hup Hup Pyare. That's one place that you keep on listening to in Nathdwara Mandir. Then comes Surbi Kund. This is my dad who has got a picture clicked. At Surbi Kund, a lot of Manorats happen. Chappan Bhog is generally offered at Surbi Kund. And we'll recite Vallabha Vitthal Giridhari Yamuna ji ki Badihari Shri Vallabha Vitthal Giridhari Yamuna ji ki Badihari Vallabha Vitthal Giridhari Yamuna ji ki Badihari. We'll do Dandat Pranam to the Mukharvind. While the Annakut was offered, Sri Giriraj Ji accepted our samagris. Now Indra is going to be pissed because he got to know that my yagna was stopped. Indra is going to shower rains. Thakurji is going to pick up the Govardhan Parvat. So Thakurji is going to pick up the Govardhan Parvat overnight. Next day in the afternoon when we meet, Thakurji would keep the Govardhan Parvat down, and then we'll continue our Katha. This marks the end of day 5. This is called Govardhan Leela. And in the marking of Govardhan Leela, we will listen to one kirtan, Abana Chhado. Amane goto to pachi. No problem. So with this, we conclude the Govardhan Leela over here. What happens when Thakurji has lifted the Govardhan Parvat is something we'll discuss tomorrow. And with this, we'll do Thakurji's Jai Jaikar, and then we'll call the Manorati family for the puja. Shri Govardhan Nath ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Dharan ki Jai, Shyama Sundar Shri Amne Maharani Ji ki Jai, Shri Vallabhadhish ki Jai, Shri Gosai Ji Param Dayal ki Jai, Aaj ke Anand ki Jai. Requesting the family to come.